And we are online, at least we should be. Hello everyone, welcome once again to MYASS. And as I said last time, of course, every time I have to say the series, I have to take a sip of something. This time is tea, great tea, of course. Sadly, it didn't come as well as I thought. I should have put some sugar, but that's alright. I like, you know, stuff it's not too sweet, of course. But here we are in Dragon Trail, actually double dragon of the Dragon Trail, for the second endurance race of this entire championship. But of course, also the, you know, fourth round of this entire championship. We're gonna start practice at night, and we're gonna have 40 minutes of practice before, of course, what's gonna be likely 20 minutes of qualifying for what's, of course, a very long track. I haven't seen a lot of attendance, of course, of this event. Many people were actually, you know, busy with all that stuff, so I'm not really expecting a lot of participation here. Although I, of course, still hope that many people will show up and race in this event, because, of course, just 6 people would be a little bit sad, but that's okay. I mean, it's still a race that they can hopefully enjoy and live to the end, of course, of this entire thing. Because here in MYASS, and once again, another sip, everything can still be decided, and in endurance races, of course, we have double points. So, you know, if the big guns are gonna, you know, not race in the endurance event, it's gonna be the game to everyone else. So the championship stays a little bit more alive, and we will have no clue of who's gonna end up in top of this. I'm pretty sure that people like Lopter should be out of this one. I mean, Lopter told us on the server that he had something to do. I'm not sure what exactly, but it's alright. I mean, we are not forcing people to race in here with, you know, hostages and whatever. So, what can I say? Yeah, this is of course gonna be a nice long event. This, for some reason, is still racing with his headlights off. He told us before that he was seeing the track in broad daylight, and I think he's doing that as well now, which, I mean, it's a little strange to see live, but I guess it's alright on his side. So we're gonna see people driving off with some degree of obscurity and uncertainty in the midnight and in the dying lights of the day. So, what can we say? We are here in Dragon Trail, in Croatia, let's say. Of course, it's a real track. I actually suggest to visit it, because I visited it in real life. It was a very nice experience, a very religious experience, let's say, which I would, of course, suggest to everyone. I don't remember exactly where it is. Should be near Rijeka, which is, you know, the old Fiume. And, yep, asking from the chat, it's both seaside and garden, all in one track. Actually, if I can see, let's see who he's going nearby the track, and I think Forever is the most likely candidate. I think we're gonna go on board with him to see a full lap of this entire track, as Thomas has a little bit of an issue and likely is gonna reconnect quite soon. So, as we can see from the onboard Forever, closing up his lap and getting towards the end of the seaside section, we're gonna have a look at the entire track and see how it pans out over the span of one lap. A very long lap, by the way. Of course, we are near the seaside, so you know what they say. There's sea, there's wind, and with wind, we get a lot of dirt on the track, which is gonna, of course, affect grip. Also, we can see Falcon just joined. There should be a new face in this race. I'm not sure if it's gonna join or not the race. I hope so, because it should be quite an interesting fella. I don't know how fast he is, but hopefully he's gonna be competitive. He insisted in joining, but we don't know for certain that if he's gonna be able to be inside this track as well. But here we go. One lap on board from Forever. We go into turn 1, which is not on the original track, but it's a left-hander that cuts into this section that is not on the original track, neither of them, of course, and cuts directly into the garden section of the track, especially the last part where you have to go towards the double left-hander. Also, Firestar just joined and just dropped out for a checksum failed. That is a little bit concerning, and I guess it's gonna be writing on the server quite soon, so I'm gonna have to check it out as well. So Give me a second, I'm gonna see if he actually writes something, because of course checksum fail usually means that something is not right with your game files compared to the ones on the server, so hopefully that is not the case. We're gonna see if he is able to solve the problem, because of course we want to see 5-star racing in here. But as we go into the garden section, we go towards one of the hardest corner, which is this chicane right here, which is a very technical left, right, and then once again left-hander. I don't really like this corner too much myself, because you have to, you know, wonder if you have to go over the curbs or if you want to just go full sand. There's no right answer, if it's just how much you want to bowl really in that section. And then you just drop down the hill towards one of the most actually difficult section of this track, corners of this track, which is this left-hander here. Once again, we got 5-star kicked out, and I think with forever parking the car, he's probably gonna have some technical, gonna give some technical help to 5-star, because of course he's gonna have some little issues, and as I can see him writing on the thread, so likely he's gonna try and find out what's wrong with his copy of the game, because as we know, every copy of Assetto Corsa is personalized, so that is likely what's going on with him. All the while Adrid, which showed actually some premise, some interesting and competitive lap times in practice, is well, jumping out of the track and getting a little bit in the way of another car, which I think it starts. I'm not too sure. Let me just check if it is him. I think it is, yeah. And Dots is also parking and then of course getting out of the way. I was just checking in the background if something is happening, if they're getting 5-star problem solved or not. Hopefully yes, because once again it's one of the drivers I kinda hope to see in this race. But as we go, actually, I don't know, is he actually lapping? Yes, he is. And of course he's lapping without his headlight on, and actually he's flashing his right thing. Why is he flashing? Why is he flashing the right, you know, signal light? I don't know why. Maybe he forgot about that. We should tell Falcon to use some light a little bit wisely, but I mean, it's his car. He can decide for himself, so I'm not gonna scold him on that or anything. I'm sure he can figure stuff out by himself. So let me just check real quick. Still no messages from 5-star, so hopefully they're solving the issue in the background. While I take another sip of tea, let's see, what can we talk about really in this situation, as we see Falcon driving in the darkness without any light on himself. Really any other drivers, actually. Let's see, maybe Adrian. Yeah, Adrian I feel like it's a nice driver to check out, because as I said before, he's looking quite competitive for this race, and I feel like he may be someone to keep an eye on, because he showed some interesting pace during practice. I'm pretty sure in qualifying it showed already that it can be quite aggressive and lethal in qualifying run. And I know for a fact that he has a little bit of an advantage, because compared to many other drivers in this specific race, he is one of the few that actually got a lot of practice in to, you know, get into grips for the race strategy, for the race pace and everything. So he has a little bit more knowledge than most of the drivers in this specific event, which is kind of interesting, considering that we had like a 3-week break, which was not due to really anything technical. Like the first week was because I had to do some work-related stuff in the night and I couldn't really host the event, and the second one was because there was some other problems with the actual hoster. So, you know, 2 weeks, and then for the third week we are here now to retake the start of the second half of the championship, to see who's gonna be the best assers in this MYASS championship. You can see how scary this whole section can be. You know, the swimming pool, which is not a swimming pool, but it's also known as the Death Chicane by the other YouTuber, also known as Super GT, which is quite a famous one for the... Ooh, he's spinning out. Actually, no, he managed to keep it, but of course that was not really too great. But as I would say, as you may know from the famous YouTuber from Gran Turismo, which is, of course, Super GT. Still, 5-star, still having issues, not sure why. Actually, let me just check in the background if I can see the logs, because I should be able to see them. Even tails should be. Nope. Race control should be here. Maybe live timings. Not sure where I can see that, because 5-star he's having some issues and I wanna help really. Probably it's here. Audit logs probably. Let me just check real quick. Live timings, even tails. Nope, that's one. Messages, options, current config, autofill entrance, logs. There we go. Let's see, what is the problem with Firestar? The surfaces.ini. So I guess it's the track. So I'm gonna just right here. I'm gonna just give some little technical help to both of them. So him and Forever. Let's try like this. Gonna try and give some help, of course, because I would really like to have some driver miss this event. I feel like it's just a little bit of an issue with the current track, nothing too big. Still, of course, we're in practice, so nothing too worrisome yet. Forever is updating. I'm updating the liveware with the link. Okay, they're fixing it real time, so giving a little bit of feedback, of course, for this whole thing, as I was checking in the meanwhile. And let's go back to the actual live thing here. We don't have a lot of lap time, or at least representative ones yet. Oh, as I say that, we have Hackbuster putting the first actual lap time, which is a 4 minutes, 1 second and 2, which is okay, really, considering the fact that the track, of course, is not yet up to full grip. During these few days we had in the past weeks, of course, we had people trying a little bit to get to grips with the track and to find out how to improve, of course. And currently, I think the best lap times we saw, I was going to say it was 3 minutes 42, but I found out literally a few seconds ago that that was not a lap time around this track here, but it was around Le Mans with another kind of vehicle, so I was, you know, scared for nothing. So I think the fastest lap time that both me, Maggio and other fastest driver managed to do, also Adrian, of course, was around the 3 minutes 48 point something. So, you know, seeing 4 minutes point 1 may see as low lap time considering this, but trust me, considering that of course the track is not yet evolved and has to get to grip with, of course, cars driving on it and laying rubber down, I feel like it's completely fine. Also, we can see a little bit of a contact between Jason Short and Hackbuster in practice. Of course, nothing too peculiar, but as one car gets into the ass of the other MYASS car, we can go towards the next section. Of course, sadly, practice is a little bit on the dark side, so we won't be able to see a lot of the track, but you know, endurance races usually start in the day, drive on into the night, and then once again in the daylight, so we should be fine and should be able to see the track quite well when it matters. Also, as you can see from the info, we have 5 kilometers per hour worth of wind going southwest, which is from the sea, which checks out really, considering where the track is, of course. Here I am, drinking, of course, some tea, some vanilla tea, actually. Suggest everyone to try some vanilla tea in their life. It's very, very nice. I actually really enjoy this breed of tea. And I truly believe that can bring world peace if taken in the right amount in the right places, which is, of course, by drinking it. This is sounding way worse than I imagined when I was saying it, so let's change argument and go back to Falcon, who is once again driving with a signal light out, so I don't know if he's hearing me, but I was actually wondering, you know, last time we had an endurance, Falcon managed to drive without the lights on for the entirety of it, which was, well, quite something to behold, but of course sparked some question about how he was doing that. And turns out he's actually, you know, that good. He can actually see in the darkness like a bat or something. And I did a little bit of a test myself because I was curious, and turns out that if you actually increase the brightness of my monitor, or actually if I do increase the brightness of my monitor to the maximum, I'm actually able to see a little bit in the dark and be able to drive without the headlights. So I'm wondering if that's the same thing. Could be, of course, could very likely be. But at the same time, I just have to wonder how strong has the monitor for Falcon be. Actually, I feel like he's driving with VR, so how strong is a VR luminosity on your eyes? Because if it's that strong, I'm not sure it's actually good for you. So, I mean, so that's some health stuff, nothing too big really. So, as Falcon drives on, we have Hackbuster getting a first sector, actually a second sector with a purple. and he is still driving quite nicely, and he's looking quite strong so far. As you can see, taking the eat chicane, or as you can say, the depth chicane to the maximum, and then driving towards the last corner. He's followed by E, a lot of kilometers, actually meters, behind him. And there we go. Remind me, did you just hit the layout without the mesh, or you made a completely file for it? So you just differentiate them. Okay, so I was just looking at the technical solutions from forever. And Firestar managed finally to get inside, so nicely to see our favorite Kiwi in this session, of course. So, another funny thing I quoted a little bit earlier, but I feel like we should actually consider quite well for this race, is, as I said before, a lot of pause, or you know, there was a lot of missing time between one race and another, and as Firestar decides to drop out as soon as he enters the session, probably another technical issue, but thankfully he has still 23 minutes to solve that, so no problems. And as we can see, Dar's actually getting a very competitive lap time. The thing I was saying is that, curiously, many people here didn't get a lot of practice despite the big gap, which, I mean, it's actually, it makes a lot of sense, because, you know, getting like 3 weeks, you either have something on the line like actual money, or you don't really get the feeling to get to do, you know, a shit ton of laps on a track, because you kind of have to win at all costs. So people started practicing. I literally cannot stress this enough. Literally maybe a few hours ago, and nothing more than that. So there are a lot of drivers here in this track, in this event, that are just, you know, completely green, like they don't know a little nothing about this track. And I feel like that's gonna be interesting, because most of these drivers are the ones that usually are on the top end of the field, while the other drivers that usually are, you know, either in the mid-pack or on the back side of the grid, actually, I know that they put a lot of actually practice. So I feel like we're gonna see a little bit of a battle of what's usually the pecking order here in this special track. Also, hi Virus, nice to see you here. I don't know if you how much you know about this track, because I know you like to drive around Gran Turismo, so maybe this one is one track you may know a little bit better compared to others. But still, as I was saying before, the pecking order is going to be quite chaotic, because we're going to have drivers that usually are not near the top of the grid, like, of course, Hatred, who just set the bloody fastest lap time, and by a mile, with a 3:56.0, and that's one hell of a lap time, trust me. And drivers that usually are on the top end, like for example Thomas is ready, who not so secretly told us that he was not ready for this track, although his name says otherwise, who are without too much practice are gonna probably struggle, at least for the first half of the race, and then probably once they get the rhythm, they're gonna go as hard as possible and as fast as possible into the heat of the battle that's gonna, of course, await for them. So Firestar, in the meanwhile, still trying out something, not sure about what. And as we take a look at him, we have Akbaxter still finding time, this time in Sector 1, which as you can see is a 2-minute 44 second sector. And if you're wondering why, it's because for this track the first sector is literally the entirety of Garden and, you know, the first half of Seaside, so it's like 2 minutes worth of sector, which is a lot, of course. But at the same time, of course, this means that in the first sector we're gonna have no clue on who's faster until they reach, of course, the end of it, which is gonna add a little bit more mystery in the qualifying section, of course. Now, as we have Firestar driving out and parking at the end of turn 1 and disconnecting once again, we wait to see many other lap times. Currently, we just have Adrian, Arkpaster and Darts with a valid lap time. Jason Short is still lapping, don't know if this is a valid lap or not. And we got Falcon still yet to register a valid lap time. I don't know where he is, actually it's on the start-finish straight. Maybe this is his actual lap. No, actually he went past the start-finish line a few moments ago, so likely he has not set a valid lap time. And he's braking a lot, actually, for turn 1. I mean, more than what I would do, really. But at least he's keeping the car stable, which is something that helps a lot with this very nervous and, let's say, snappy car. In case you didn't know, in case you are actually a driver and you're wondering how this car can be driven and how it works, you have to consider that these cars have to be blipped, which, in case you don't know what that means, is like, let's put it this way: have you ever driven a car with a manual gearing, you know, like going to first, second, third, fourth gear and so on? With this car, if you change gear and you go, well, either from a lower gear to a higher gear, or usually in the other way around, so from a higher gear to a lower gear, if you do that without touching the accelerator a little bit while you're switching gears, you get a lot of torque to the back end of the car, and due to that, if you're not ready or countering it with the throttle, you're gonna have a snap of oversteer, which is, I mean, not completely lethal, but can take you off guard. And if that happens, of course, if you're not ready, as we say in technical terms, shit is gonna happen. So, yeah, it's not as easy as it may look to drive. It's actually easy to drive, but hard to push to the absolute limit, which I feel like is the nice thing about this car, and the main thing I actually quite enjoy about it. As you can see now, back to Firestar, finally getting out of the pit lane without his headlights on for some reason. Let's see if he's able to maybe pull out some lap times in these last 18 minutes before the start of qualifying. Actually, let me just check real quick something in the background, as Firestar literally crashes into the wall and disconnects once again. So, let me not go to the background. My bad, I was just writing something slightly in the background, just answering stuff they were asking me. Let's see other people. Adrian, once again faster, 55.0. Still impressing the drivers. Actually, let's go on board with him. He looks quite a nice little chap. And as we see a backside 360 from from Virus, we go towards the famous double left-hander. A little bit deep, but that's not a bad thing, because by going deep you can actually, you know, get a faster exit out of the second half of the corner, and then get, of course, a possible attack run on this second half of the straight. And here you actually reach quite a high top speed. I'm talking about 200 and something kilometers per hour, which is have to be killed to be able to make this corner, which is quite deceiving. It's very hard to get this corner right. It's easy to get it, you know, done, but it's very hard to get into the absolute perfection of limit. Then, of course, this famous chicane, as I talked before, is also very technical, very difficult to get right. And as you can see, I think it went a little bit too wide, and that's gonna end up with him still staying inside the track limits, of course, but very, very close to, you know, going outside and touching the grass, which is not a good thing, of course, with these cars. And then towards the hairpin. Let's have a look. Usually I use the right hand side curb as a braking reference, and I start to brake at the start of the curb, but of course that changes on how and have to be calibrated compared to how you actually exit and take the chicane before. Here he's struggling a little bit with grip, but he manages to keep it quite nicely. And as Firestar once again gets back into the server, hopefully this time he stays here, we go towards the lower side of the track. We go to third gear to let the car run through this section quite nicely. Here you have to avoid going too wide, because otherwise this curb here, if taken incorrectly, can actually make your car fly. And of course you don't really want your car to be on the sky, because that is the domain of the planes, and sadly this car is no plane. And here we can see him going a little bit wide and losing the car. Track limits Virus are not that you know, unforgiving as you may think, but of course they have to be kept in mind. Usually curbs count as track fully. The red part you can see in some corners does not count as track, and as long as you have at least one wheel on the you know, on the painted stuff, you are fine. But if one wheel, all four wheels are off, of course the track is gonna be invalidated, and you're gonna be in big trouble. I mean, not really big trouble, but of course the lap time getting validated can be a little bit of an issue in this track, of course, since it's very long. So of course at this point I'm quite expert, let's say. I kind of know where the track limits are, so if I see some car getting above the track limits, I'm pretty sure I can spot that quite easily. But I'm pretty sure it's not that harsh. It's not like you know, race room where if you get a little bit in a white line, you kinda get the track limit violation, and of course everything invalidated. I'm not gonna, of course, get back into this discussion, because I think we have had a little bit of a discussion some time ago, which was quite funny. And here we can see the depth chicane in action. As you can see, he taking the life of Adrian, sadly for us. But he's able, of course, to retake back the car and drive away quite safely. Meanwhile, Hackpasser is tailgated by, I think that's 5-star, I think, yes it is. And let's have a look at this little battle while I'll take another sip of tea. This is nice tea, but of course with some sugar it would be nicer. Which is a shame, fact that was not good. And yeah. Let me just check real quick if there's something in the background. Nope, there's not. So we're all good, all green. 9 drivers so far. 1 going very wide. That was a track limit, if you're wondering, because all 4 wheels were clearly off track. And yeah, another thing that people should be using this practice session to get used to, and quite urgently, I have to say, is of course the strategy. Because compared to Sebring, we have a little bit of a news of, let's say, how's it said, as a real update, which is something that helps to get a little bit more interesting races, but of course gets things a little bit more, as we say in English, artsy-googlated, which is the fact that now cars will use not the 100% of fuel consumption, but 130%. And you may say, hey, 30% is not gonna be that much of an issue. Well, sadly for you, yes it is, because that 30% means that you are not able to do a one-stopper work anymore, except of course if you do like a hell of a lot of lift and coast, which Adrian said it's possible. I am a little bit not too sure that it's gonna work. Also, hello Hoppus, nice to see you here. But yeah, as I said, due to that we have like more of a two-stop strategy in our hands for this race. So the real question is, where will people actually do their first and second stop, and how will they play actually the cards? Because another thing to keep in mind, of course, the fact that you don't really have to change tires if you have to. Assetto Corsa just says that you have to put either 1 liter of fuel in the car or either change all 4 tires to have a valid pit stop for the mandatory one. But at the same time, nothing tells you that you cannot, like, take a creative approach to this strategy. For example, in a practice race I did quite a little bit of time ago, I decided to try if it was actually possible to do like a double stint for the first stop, so just take fuel on the stop and not change tires, and then change tires just for the second stint. And doing that actually makes you gain 15 or to 20 seconds in the pit stop, which is quite of a big grab, of course, which then gets eroded for the fact that without grip your car gets 1 to 2 seconds per lap slower, usually. Depends of course on the driving style, the driver and whatever, which then gets of course once again, I'm not saying counted, but of course gets a little bit yeah, let's say counted. I think that's the right term. By the fact that, of course, in the last stint, with new tires, you are able to go a lot faster. Like, the stint was something around, think about my times, it was like 3:55s when I was lapping with used tires in the second stint, which went to, 30% on the front right and other ones to 50%. And then, in the last stint, when I had fresh tire, I managed to actually go to 3:51s, and I wasn't able to dip below the 50s, but still it was a very fast, race pace in my opinion. But that's of course from my experience. I don't know how these drivers actually are thinking about the strategy, if they are thinking of course to it as well. And I kind of hope they are, because if they end up without fuel, that's of course not very nice, and that's gonna end likely with not disqualification, but with a DNF for them, which is not really something you would really want to see in your own race, especially in a race that gives you double points, such as this endurance. So, what I was talking, we have off the grid without a lap time and half with a lap time. We have Darts with a 4:03, then Falcon with a 3 minutes 57s, followed by Forever, which has a 57.1, so very much faster. Then Hackpasser showing a very competitive lap time of 3:56.7, and then Idrid, the most competitive of them all so far, with a 3:55.086, which is probably gonna be one hell of a lap time to beat for many of these drivers. I mean, at least for now, of course, the more the more the practice goes on, and also the more qualifying goes on, the more we're gonna see, of course, the track get better, and of course we're gonna see more faster lap times. Also, say that, of course, we can see Hackbuster getting another fastest, I think, first sector, yep, 2:41.1, which, as we've seen before, is probably 2 to 3 seconds faster than it was, you know, a few minutes ago, which goes to show how much the track is improving, of course. And as he goes downhill towards the sea, he brakes for this right-hander, a very technical one, also another hard one to get right, in my opinion. I'm not sure what kind of gear he's using. It's in the middle of using both second and third gear that corner, so it's very hard to actually get a right feeling on which one is the right one. And then towards the depth chicane, going very aggressively over the curbs, chasing after Falcon. Let's see if one of them is gonna have a very nice lap time, a very valid one. Technically it should be valid considering the first sector shown as purple, but we're gonna find out soon as he goes through another very technical section and another technical corner, which is the last one, which may be simple at a first glance, but I can actually tell you it is not. As Falcon goes to the 56 for the first time, Hackbuster gets a 3 minutes 52.7. One hell of a lap time, I gotta say. And with 7 minutes left to go, the heat is quite on. We have 7 minutes left to qualifying, and once that starts, we're gonna find out how the grid is gonna be, of course, for the race. And I feel like we're gonna see quite a lot of interesting new drivers on the front of the grid. Especially considering that right now the only one that we know is a very fast driver in top 3 is Falcon. Adrian and Hackbuster are also very fast, of course, but they have not shined, of course, as brilliantly as he has in the past few races. So quite interested to see if he's actually going to be able, if they are going to be able to actually fend off the, as we say, the Kaiser, the German screwdriver, the German legend of the track, which is, of course, Falcon. As I take another sip, of course, of my tea, I'm gonna see real quick in the background something which I cannot listen to because it's Telegram audio, which if I try to listen to, of course, I'm gonna show it to the entire stream, which is not something I would quite like to do, considering all kind of stuff. And okay, there's more drivers coming for this race, and as they are coming, so am I, to the conclusion that it's gonna be quite an exciting race. Also, if you're wondering about the HUD, we have some interesting stuff here I can show you. We have the actual track time, which is 2 AM in the morning in the top left. Then we have, of course, the name of the championship, the round, the practice, how much time is left, and of course the lap times. I can actually change that on the interface, but I kind of don't want to because it's nice to have lap times, in my opinion. It's very nice. Oh shit, I think the tea made me a little bit too British with this. Let me take a whiff. Okay, so as I think that was inside the track limits, just barely. We have a look still at Hackbuster, still running, still trashing the car around every single corner of this track, and still finding time. This may be his race, his zenith, his moment to shine. He didn't have a lot of chances in the past few races, but I feel like this is the one where he shows us what he is made of. Yeah, I mean, it's still practice, so you know, I shouldn't really fantasize too much about practice lap times, because usually this is just people getting used to the track, testing different fuel loads and strategies and whatever. So I shouldn't really take this too seriously, but at the same time I can't help to be a little bit hyped. I mean, when there's pre-season for Formula 1, don't you get a little bit hyped to see who's the fastest in pre-season? I mean, those laps usually mean literally nothing, because people are just testing stuff, and you know, you don't really get the full picture. But at the same time, you kinda have to worry. Like, you have to tell yourself, you know, yeah, I mean, they don't mean anything, but it's the first time you actually can see how people are going fast, and that is great. I love that. As we can see now, as Hackbuster goes over the walls, over the depth chicane, we can see Valiant getting inside the server and getting ready to race for his team, the Kurma Autosport, which is of course one nice little team. I'm not sure if any other drivers from his team will race today. I know they told me that some of them will not for other reasons, but since he's here, I can think that he will be able to. Meanwhile, 52.5 from Hackbuster, still improving, still finding time. Falcon is not doing anything at the moment, probably just setting up the car a little bit, getting ready for the race strategy. So he sits, still waiting in the pit lane for quite a long time, and their starts now getting towards the end of the lap time with a 3:59.3 in the midst of the pack and still finding pace. So yeah, 10 drivers so far, and as we can say, as we say here in Italy, strong. How's it said actually? Strong destinies, strong man. Weak destinies, weak man. So this is gonna be quite an interesting round. 3 in the morning here in Croatia. A lot of drivers in the pit lane: Falcon, Firestar, Tits, and Valiant. And many people still trying to find what the correct strategy is gonna be in the 1 hour and 20-minute event that is gonna, of course, follow the qualifying session that is coming quite soon. Meanwhile, I was checking one thing I just seen in the background. Sorry, a little funny stuff, which is, I mean, the fact that on the server, Tits announced the stream for this race as go lads, there's the stream for round 3, and then there's the other admin, which is of course Jason Short in the background, who went on like, you bloody idiot, it's round 4. So fantastic stuff once again. And as Dart is still testing the grounds, we go and watch, I don't know, who can we watch? There's Forever, there's Falcon, there's Adriat, there's Hackbuster, there's Jason Short himself, driving once again with the BWT. I mean, let's just give a little shout out to his car, who's obscured by the darkness but still visible in the headlights. So very nice to see the drive for the BW Corsa now. And my favorite part: hope is the last thing you lose on the backside, and hopefully hope is still gonna be the last thing you lose. There's also a "fuck you Butters" written here, and a little bit of a headlight pop from there. I'm just wondering if he's actually listening to the stream. He may be. Hey Jason, if you're actually listening to me, please pop up the headlights, or I don't know, press the klaxon. I think he is. I think he is. You know, I think he's listening to me, guys. I think he's on to us. That can be quite the interesting thing. Maybe he's using the stream to get information about his rivals, to get a tactical advantage. He may be, or maybe he's not. Difficult to tell, really. But that's okay. That's okay. Of course, we all want some degree of McCree. Where's my phone? Did I actually eat my phone? I think I did eat my phone. Lads, I think I may have accidentally eaten my phone. I'll be back in literally 1 moment, because without that, I cannot check stuff in the background. I'll be back soon. I am back to inform you that yes, I did indeed accidentally eaten my phone, and all the while, okay, there was just a little update for a little thing I'm gonna do tomorrow, so nothing too big, and thankfully nothing that is too disruptive. Let's go back to Dart's driving. Let's go on board with him, actually, with his fantastic camo livery with a hidden Hidokojin on it. I'm not telling you where it is. I mean, I showed that in, I think, in round 1, so that should be a little bit of a hint on where it should be. And as I take some more tea, I literally drank the entirety of the Atlantic Ocean in tea content, we wait for the overtime to end and for the start of qualifying to roll in. 10 drivers in this event, a little bit less than usual, but that's okay. 10 drivers can still give us a lot of show to see. And hopefully that's gonna be, of course, what we're gonna watch, what we're gonna see, what we're gonna live, what we're gonna be, what we are gonna be. Who are we? Who are you? Who are me? And what are those? Because those are thy butt cheeks, also known as MYASS. And as I take a sip, of course, there's Nucaria. I mean, I never learned to tell your name, really. I'm gonna be completely honest. But he's here, and he told me, I remember Dragon Trial to be a little bit different. And yes it is. Because this is both Dragon Trials in one. So, yep. What are those? These are those, and those are these. Blue, those. Those are these. Those, these. Anyway, overtime, of course. The team, of course, is we got here in the chat quads, of course, quite clearly cheering for darts or against darts. I don't know, knowing both of them, both are likely options. We got, of course, people from the Trapanati Discord, actually not the Trapanati Discord, but from the Firestar project, which is a very nice little racing team, I know. And as you can see, darts literally flying and crashing into a wall. We wait for the start of qualifying, which is gonna come quite soon. Let me just see real quick if I've got something in the background. Nope, I don't. We have people driving, talking, doing everything they can to keep themselves distracted. And as Firestar joins once again, Quads confirms us that he's cheering for Chaos and also Darts, which is quite of a sweet thing to say. And as Thomas is getting ready for the qualifying, ironically, he's rolling towards the end of the straight, actually dropping into the pit lane, and we go in a minute time to qualifying. As you can see, there's also Nucaria still cheering for Firestar, although it's not really the Firestar from the racing team, but since the name sounds similar enough, I feel like it's going to probably be the one he's going to cheer in this one. And at the end of practice, we have Akbuster, Adrian, and Falcon in the top 3, followed by Forever, Darts, E, Firestar, Thomas is ready, Tits, and Valiant, although the last 3 don't really have a representative lap time set in. That being said, qualifying is going to be 20 minutes compared to the 15 minutes one we usually had. And that is because, since it's a long-ass track, we're going to need time to have, you know, the out lap, the in lap, the shit lap, and so on. So there's enough time for everything to be had. But there's still enough time for MYASS to be raced here. And with that little wisdom, I'm going to take another sip of tea. Ah, very nice. Very nice. 15 seconds to qualifying, and if you see the thing on the right, that's a boat. That's because we are near the seaside, where, you know, those pesky Americans thrown all the tea into the sea when they declared independence. I think this tea is getting to me, just as they did in the past. We are into qualifying. The time is getting rewind quite quickly, and everyone is getting out of the pit lane. I think that was Forever, but there was also Darts right ahead, and I think I saw other drivers behind, not too sure who was that. And 18 is gonna be probably a night qualifying, which is and probably it's okay. It's gonna be. That's all. It's gonna be. It's gonna ease be. And we have Darts ahead of Forever, and then behind we have Valiant nearby, and not sure who is ahead. Oh, there's Tits, there's Thomas, and then behind I think I saw Falcon. Yep, it was Falcon. Then right behind we have Adrian, and now just getting out of the pit lane, the favorite from the chat, or at least from one of the members of the chat, which is of course our friend here, Firestar. Then right behind I can see Hackbuster getting now out of the pit lane, and the last one who has to exit right now is of course Jason Short, also known as E. Let's go to the first people in the queue, which is of course Darts, and see what he's able to do followed right behind by Forever.exe. Two men on a mission to see who's the fastest. It is quite peculiar, actually, night qualifying. I probably messed up a little bit on the server because I thought that 18 was gonna be, you know, with a little bit of light, but likely I kind of forgot that we are in Croatia, and as you know, in Croatia night comes a little bit closer to midnight than usual, which makes no sense, of course, because I'm such an idiot when I'm saying this kind of stuff, and you should not listen to me when I'm saying this kind of stuff, but that's okay. As you can see, Darts getting ready for the qualifying, a very long out lap, of course, so we're gonna, of course, chill a little bit, wait for the start of qualifying, wait for people to race, to find where the time is, and how to get to grip with the track, the car, and everything in between, of course. So as it goes towards the very technical section, the three right-handers here to take in third gear, which is actually doing. He has, of course, to be careful, because if you go a little bit too wide here, you end up on that cab, and that, of course, kills you straight up. He then accelerates, brakes a little bit. I mean, he should have braken a little bit earlier, because otherwise this is what's gonna happen. I feel like that was maybe just about in the track limits, although I'm not too sure. And as he takes this little section a little bit too nicely and a little bit too easily, I see Tits having a little bit of a white flag, sorry, yellow flag moment behind, which means that likely he got lost in the exit of that corner. We go on board with Forever, which I feel like he's feeling probably a bit faster than Darts, and probably is trying to find a way to get through him, because if he can, probably is gonna be able to, you know, set a lap time that can be faster than what he should expect. So as they go downhill towards another interesting section, which is this one, we can see Forever diving aggressively to Darts, and Darts offering no resistance because he knows that there's no point in an outlap to fight. And they both go towards the other hairpin of this track, which is this downhill one here, which, as I said before, very tricky corner. Got to take either in second or third gear. Actually, let's see what gear is he taking. It's in second gear from Forever, which is what I would do as well, so makes sense. And as they go towards the death chicane, the lap is about to start, and with it, the questions are gonna be answered. So, towards the death chicane, a little bit wide from Forever, but still able not to hit the wall, which is of course the main thing you kinda don't want to do. And as he goes towards the last corner, he's gonna start his lap time. Let's actually go to an action cam, this one, to see from the side what it's gonna look like from the people around this track. So, into the start-finish straight. 4 minutes 14, of course it's just the outlaps, so nothing too significant, too much. And as they go, we can see also Tits and Thomas right behind, trying to learn the track. Into the first corner, very close to the wall, Darts trying to copy Forever as much as possible to maybe get a similar lap time, but getting a little bit too wide on this exit and not able to gain as much time as he did. Behind we can see, I mean, we had a little bit of blur, other people, and I think Jason Short just got out of the track, and these are right ahead of these two lads. So either he's gonna have to drive very fast with, you know, cold tires, or he's gonna be a little bit of a mobile chicane for these two lads. By the way, he also driving without headlights for whatever reason, and so is now Forever. So yeah, I was hoping to see them in the midnight, but of course that's not likely to happen soon. As they go now towards the big left-hander, very hard corner once again to get right, we brake for the famous chicane, which is not the death one but the technical one. And as they go close to the sausages curb on the right and then left-hand side, they dip down towards the other hairpin of this track, the slow one. We can see now quite clearly Jason Short right ahead, which is yet to start a lap, of course, but that's for the best. Oh, I mean, of course, you have to start a lap to get a qualifying run, so it's okay for him. And as you can see, we already have 14 minutes left to go, and we haven't yet seen a lap, so you can see that having a 20 minutes qualifying session is actually a wise choice from the right direction, so I'm gonna give myself a high five for that one. And as they go now towards the S section, one of the most technical ones of the Gardens part of the track, also my favorite, ironically, they dip down, go down to third gear, and let the car roll through this nicely triple right-hand corner before going on to the left and hopefully miss this big-ass curb that is gonna send your car flying. Also, Darts is keeping quite nicely the pace with Forever, so either he's learning the track right now, or either he's actually setting a very nice lap time, because I feel like they are both racing with a very close, you know, race pace, or actually qualifying pace. He lost a little bit of time here, really, by going a little bit too wide, but at the same time, the exit, I feel like it's nice from both of them. They don't get a little bit of oversteer, which is actually very easily to get that on that section, due to the fact that the corner is, you know, going uphill and then going downhill, which gets, you know, a little bit of the compression that makes your car go whee, which is not something you kinda like to have. And then they go downhill. We can also see Tits getting very close behind. I feel like he's going faster than both of them, which is something to keep in mind, because Tits, once again, he didn't have a representative lap time, but I feel like he could be quite the menace in this event here. And now, as they exit the very fast section, they chase Jason Short towards the hot hairpin, which is down here. And as they reach the braking point, go down to second gear, and there's a little bit of a lockup from the Italian driver, also known as Forever. And if you heard something, it was me checking the T, sorry about that. We go towards the depth chicane, and let's see who's the bravest, who has the ball closest to the walls. Forever goes very close, but that's not the higher point. This is the one, and he, oh, that goes a little bit too wide, and oh my god, that was it's fucking dying in the background. So yeah, I feel like this is not gonna complete this lap time just yet. He's gonna have to probably have another try at it, another crack at it. And let's see what kind of lap time we have now, because Forever it's gonna be the first one to finish his lap time, as he is gonna finish his one, start his one right ahead. So 3:56 from him, 3:57 from Darts. Then we have right behind, I think it was Thomas with a 3:56.7. Then right behind, I think we have Tits starting actually his lap time because he bloody died. Then Falcon right behind, who's gonna have a nothing really, but going side by side with Adrit, which actually smashed everyone with a 3:52.1, and then smashing the back of of the poor Falcon. So yeah, not the most optimal qualifying run ever, but still qualifying in pole position currently for him. As for lap time, Falcon still has to set one. Then we have Valiant, who I feel like is closing his lap right now. I feel like he is. Then, oh yeah, I missed Firestar and other people. And Valiant manages to get into 8th place with a 4:30, which I feel like has a lot of time to be gained there. So, with Firestar with 4:10, Tits with a 4.4, which of course is, you know, also very much at risk to be, you know, he had that little bit of an issue from that crash into the wall. And I think this is both Tits and, you know, Falcon racing in the darkness without headlights, which, I mean, we can't literally see them, but we can kinda see their outline. We can just wonder where they are as we wait for their lap times. So let's go back to Darts and Forever, currently in P4 and P5, and both of them are now chasing after Jason Schott, who is actually doing his lap time. And let's see, because if he is able to stay ahead of them, as they are also, of course, trying to get a lap time in, that may mean that he's going to be able to actually out-qualifying them, which should put him in a very nice starting position. That's, of course, wishful thinking from me, but, you know, you get everywhere with wishful thinking here in Formula 1. Although it's not Formula 1, this is MYASS. So, yeah, let me take another sleep, because, once again, I said the name of this championship. And as we can see, him getting a very nice exit, actually, out of this corner. We see the other three guys behind. Actually, let me get another good camera. This one looks sexy enough, in my opinion. We wait to see where they line up, where they manage to get their Miatas, pushing them to the absolute limit, getting into the breaking point of this very tricky corner, which I would like to tell you which corner it is, but of course I feel like it's, you know, 20 or something corner about this track, so I don't really know where that corner is. But with that being said, there's also Alex Maggio trying his best to get in, saying that with 10 more minutes he should be able to, but I feel like he's gonna start behind if he does so, because 10 minutes, you know, it's we're close to the end of qualifying, so you know, he may be able to join, but just about for the start of the race, and I feel like that's gonna be quite an issue because I don't know if he knows the strategy, I don't know if he has one, if he has to improvise one on the fly, and that's not gonna be an easy task to do. So I feel like he's a little bit doomed currently with the current situation. But we're gonna see if he's able to join. Probably he's gonna be able with the wait time and overtime from qualifying, so likely he has a little bit of a chance. So as we see people literally throwing the car into the depth chicane, we wait for the second round of qualifying runs to end, with of course with Jason Short leading the charge with his first actual lap time, which is looking quite competitive actually. I feel like he's doing a very nice job currently with his car, and let's see what kind of lap time he's able to set up. He is setting a third lap time with a 56.7, which is instantly beaten by Forever with a 355.7 right behind. So, behind we go to Tits, and of course also Falcon, which is close to him, which means that Falcon is gonna absolutely nuke everyone. 354 for both of them, so very nice lap times. Then we got Adrian, Darts, and and Thomas getting all three together to the line. Let's see what kind of lap time they can put out. No improvement from either. Then we have Akbaster fighting once again for pole position. Is he gonna be able to do so? I feel like he's going into the pit lane. Yes, he is. So no improvement from Hackbuster. We move to Firestar, getting into the last corner, of course, of this track. Well, I change, of course, the camera a little bit to get something maybe nicer. I actually like the crane one because it's a little bit higher and you can see more stuff. Firestar 4-minute flats, but it's not a valid lap time. Then right behind we have Valiant, which is not gonna be a sub 4 minutes as we can see so far, but it's gonna be an improvement to his previous lap time, and beat Firestar by a whopping 4 seconds with a 4 minutes 6 seconds point 3. Now back to all qualifying pack, and we can see actually Adrian still pole position holder for the moment, chasing after Thomas is ready, who is well readying himself to ride into the right, or to ride into the Thomas, which is ready. What the fuck am I saying? What the fuck is this team, man? Anyway, 6 minutes left, which should be enough to maybe 1 or 2, if you're lucky enough, runs of worth of qualifying. And we still have to wonder, there's also a crash. I think Darts crashed. Let me see. Yes, he crashed. No, actually it wasn't Darts, it was Valiant, sorry. Yes, there's Valiant parked at the end of the double right left-hander. Not sure what happened to him. Maybe a little bit of a... must have been the wind, I gotta say. So not sure to what happened to him, but let's not think too much about it. He's fine, likely. We go back to Thomas is ready, who I think managed to drop Adrian and is now running away. As we said, sadly we won't have information from the sectors until it's too late. So as we see him taking the double right-hander very nicely and tidily on, we see him invalidate the lap, sadly. So yeah, this is not gonna be a nice lap time, and if he's still alive, which is a big if, of course, he's gonna probably have to try and do another lap. In 5 minutes he's gonna be able, of course, to start another lap, but not anything more than that. So, back to other drivers. We have the leader, of course, of the charge, which is still, of course, Jason Short, who has not improved in the first sector and looks to be quite down compared to his personal best. But we have Tits, instead, fighting back and getting quite a nice first sector, 240.2, which is currently purple. And as he goes through the S section, getting nice and tidy, trying to get the car turned in the right places. We won't be able really to see him in the darkness because he's racing without the, the headlights, so that's a little bit of an issue. But that being said, we will try to follow him in the lights we can kind of see, and damn, that's a nice racing line, I gotta say, into that corner. We can see him now try his absolute best to nail the depth chicane, which is the point where he lost a lot of time before. And as he lifts, which is one thing you have to do, he goes a little bit wide and taps the wall, but I feel like it's still a very nice and valid lap time. So, will he be able actually to beat Adrian, Hackbuster and Falcon, which are the drivers ahead of him, or will he actually have to yield a position into the last corner, keeping nice and tidy, and now onto the gas for the exit. Let's see, as Jason Shorts closes his lap but does not improve, Tits ends his lap time and it's pole position with a 3:51.4. Now, that's the time to beat, and Deadrid, which is right behind, I'm not sure is improving. Nope, he's not. Currently, he's just having 2 yellow sectors, and I feel like the third one is likely gonna be as well, and it's no improvement. Then we got Falcon right behind, which has an improvement in the second sector, but not in the first, so not sure if it's gonna be enough to beat at least Hackbuster or Hatred. Let's have a look, and it's not, and it goes into the pit lane. Then we wait for Firestar, who improved the first sector, not the second one, and now into the last corner. Is he gonna be able to actually improve his lap time and his position from the current 10th and last one? He goes to the line and beats Valiant with a 3:59.4. Now behind him we have Thomas is ready, who is, well, you know, probably not gonna improve considering the crash we saw earlier. Then we have Darts right behind, which I cannot see the sectors, so I'm not sure if it's on a valid lap time, so we're gonna concentrate instead on Akpaster right behind, which also does not show me the sectors, so hard to tell if he's gonna be able to improve or if he's actually warming back the tires to start a lap. I think he is, because I can see him swerving a little bit to the left and to the right, so still, of course, a pole position contender, still someone to keep in mind while this whole thing goes on. We're starting in 5, as we can see from our friend Forever, telling Maggio, who is still maybe in time to join this race. And also, we wait for Valiant, who is still lapping, but not improving apparently, to finish his lap time. I think he's gonna go into the pit lane, so maybe that's it for the number 49. So, he's gonna probably concentrate a little bit more on the race, which is gonna be quite chaotic, of course. And while this happens, let's go back maybe to, I don't know, who's the leader of the charge. Usually it's Jason Short, but he's into the wall, so likely he's not leading the charge as much as we thought so far. So instead, we're gonna go to the number 2, which is Adrian, who is still trying to fight back for the podium and for the pole position. Still, a very nice position, of course. Pichu is as high as he ever flown. Actually, I think he also always had some strong qualifying, so considering how strong he's showing his pace in practice and how strong he's actually showing his pace here in qualifying, I'm curious to see where is he gonna be able to end up in the race, especially considering in the lap 1 melee and everything that's gonna go right after. 1 minute left to the end of qualifying, and we are waiting to see more lap times. More people, of course, have decided that this is it for their qualifying. We have number 7, Thomas is ready, out of the picture, so Thomas cannot improve out of P7, so that's going to likely be his starting position, and as Slopter tells us that he doesn't think that Thomas is indeed ready. We wait for Edred because he has a purple sector 1, and now he's going through sector 2, absolutely flying through the S section. And we wait to see if he's able to fight for pole position. So go, Edred, show us into the hairpin. Heavy braking point. Going down to, I think, second gear as well. Let's actually check the telemetry. And nope, he's staying in third gear, so he's confident enough to bring enough, you know, drive, enough speed into that corner to be able to take then the death chicane. In fourth gear, second sector is also purple, so he's absolutely flying into the death chicane, flying on the limit and close to the wall, but still inside the track limits. And now, towards the end of the lap, towards the last corner, the last crucial corner, he brakes. He goes down to third gear, drops the throttle as early as possible, let the cars roll through, and goes towards the line. Is this gonna be enough for pole position? The answer is yes. 3 minutes 50.9. Gets pole position by quite a margin compared to Tits. And with this, well, we have, of course, quite a surprise pole position, I gotta say. We wait for Darts and also for Hackbuster, still trying to find some time. And still trying to improve, of course, for this. Restart the race session before the countdown a couple of time to give Maggio the time to join. I'm gonna ask, of course, if you can do that to me. Just answering, of course, the race direction to be able to do stuff, but Maggio joins, so probably it's not gonna be needed. So actually, let me just answer. So yeah, Maggio is in. Not sure if he knows the strategy, but very likely he's gonna start from the last place on the grid. Which is, I mean, probably a setback, but not a big one. Also, I think Darts just invalidated his lap time. Yep, he went wide, so he's gonna start from 8th position as best. And Hackbuster, right ahead, is gonna be able to improve. I'm not sure, because I cannot once again see the stack so I'm not sure if it's a valid lap time. Yes, it was, but it's not enough to beat Tits. So this looks like our starting grid, with Idrid with a very nice and first pole position in this championship, Tits in 2nd place, starting with a very nice front row, then Hackbuster in 3rd place, 4th place for Falcon, then Forever, Jason Short and Thomas is ready in 5th, 6th and 7th, then Darts in 8th place and well, in this moment also out of the pit lane, then Firestar in 9th place, Valiant in 10th, and then of course Alex Maggio starting in last place, but still in a very big world of art, because I don't know if he's actually, you know, on the strategy side, if he knows what to do, or if he's actually going to improvise during the race. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's fast enough to, you know, just go and say fuck it, we ball, and just get the car to be fast enough to get the race win. But still, I'm curious to see if he's going to be able to get things on the fly to work as he wants or not. So with Maggio in and Lobter not able to race and this crash between Tits and Maggio, we wait for the race start in just a few minutes. Of course we have all the time. I think probably it's because I am still on the track, because I have to, you know, kinda see what is happening. I take a sip, a very easy sip of tea, see if there's some comments somewhere. I think not, so maybe let me just try and get into the pit lane to see if that actually gets us ahead. No, it doesn't. So yeah, we're gonna have to wait for the end of qualifying in the standard way, which is as man waiting for the race director to say, hey guys, I think qualifying is a little bit, you know, kinda over, and then of course waiting for the race start to start. 1 hour and 20 minutes worth of racing are waiting us at the end of this long-ass overtime section, which, once again, I never know why it's lasting so long. And then, once that's done, yeah, God knows what's gonna happen, because surely I don't. And now we wait. We take a little bit of a breath. Most of these drivers need that, because there's a long, grueling stint waiting for them right ahead. Now, with that in mind, we're gonna find out soon who's gonna be the winner of this 2nd endurance round of this championship. Who are you betting on, lads? Because I know that you on the comment sections, or whoever is watching the stream, is already, you know, taking on his best gambling site and going on to say who is gonna win this race, because I know you far too well. So I just wonder who is your favorite. Write down in the comment section. I'm ready to learn, to see what are your thoughts about it. We wait, of course, once again. Very long wait. I hope that the race director just says at some point, hey guys, I think we're good. Lobter bets on Maggio downfall, which, I mean, makes sense considering that he's fighting for for championship with him, so makes absolute sense. Then we have Quads telling, may God know what happens, because as sure as hell I fucked up my transmission radio. Yeah, makes absolute sense as well. And yeah, that's it. That's about it. Race director, can we please move on to the race? I'm begging you. Literally, there are people who paid to see the race. I mean, literally no one. You are watching this for free, and I'm never gonna pay all this because it wouldn't really make any fucking sense, you know? But at the same time, I'm just wondering, why are we waiting until midnight and past midnight for this race start? Maybe to give Maggio enough time to get the setup. Maybe. Let me have a look in the background if people are asking stuff. No, there's just Jason Short sending a picture of a cat near a watermelon. And as we see the watermelon, and as we see Forever telling us that he is gonna skip to the race, we are ready, finally, to get racing. So, as I go into the pit lane, and for the first time in practice, race and whatever, we see a slight hint of light, which is gonna disappear quite soon because it's 17:05 in the midday, so it's gonna probably be a night race start, and then of course we're gonna go to the to the daylight later on in the race. We wait for the race start in just a few minutes, of course. Reminder, 2 stopper, very likely. 1 stopper is technically possible, as Edward said, but we have no clue about that. We have a literal nuclear bomb in the back of this of the grid, ready to take on a charge in 1 hour and 20 minutes worth of racing. We have Valiant, Firestar, Darts, Thomas, and E ready to fight back. Forever, Falcon, and Hackbuster ready to defend. Tits and Deadred starting P1 and P2, ready to show the world what they are able to do. And that being said, we now wait because in 45 seconds the race is gonna go underway. I'm gonna take my last sip of tea for the moment. Actually, let me get some more tea because I'm gonna absolutely fucking need it. I fucking love tea, lads. It's bloody brilliant. Best thing ever invented since, I don't know, the cars. May God bless us with invention and the discovery of cars. Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines, because in 10 seconds this race is gonna get underway. The 4 red lights get on, and as they go out, the second endurance race of MYASS is on. Very nice start from Tits, and of course Edred trying to defend, of course, into the inside, but it's a very, very nice start from Tits. It takes the lead before even turn 1. Behind we can see Falcon and Hackbuster trying to get into 3 wide into turn 1. It's a very difficult section to get into with cold tires, but they all managed to get through quite nicely, and with Hackbuster and Falcon fighting in, let's see who is gonna be able to take the second section of this track nicely. Oh, there's a bit of an impact in the background, and I think I saw Firestar going to the wall in the backside, so a little bit of a disgrace, or actually disaster, for the Kiwi driver. But they go into the left hand side, and there's a big dive from Thomas is ready, who ends up rear-ending Forever, who actually manages to get the exit, and so Forever and Thomas get into a fight for P2, while both of them try to go into the next session. So currently, Tits, Forever and Thomas compose the top 3, then we have Hackbuster and Falcon right behind, fighting and getting ready for a fight into the next left-hander, which is gonna be right here. And as they go inside this corner with cold tires, who's gonna be able to take a better interpretation of this? Into the darkness, of course, of the night, we can see people trying to get now into the technical section. Very different lines for a lot of drivers, but we can see Hackbuster on the hack tack on Thomas, but is not able to complete the maneuver into the start of the chicane. So maybe onto the exit is gonna be able to do something. It's a 3-wide moment, and I think that's Maggio right behind. Yes, he is. Maggio close to Hackbuster, close to Falcon, going towards the hairpin. It's gonna be a 3-wide moment, while in the same time we can see Tits getting closer, the gap closer by another driver, which is of course Forever. But in the meanwhile, there's a bit of a shuffle here on the top side, and we can see Falcon defending the 4th place from Adred, who manages to somehow stay in 5th, while Hackbuster and of course Alex Maggio fight for the current 6th place. And as they go, I think I saw Thomas getting a little bit of a look on Forever, but not able to get the maneuver done, and not able to actually take the position on him. In the meanwhile, I see Darts and Alex Maggio fighting, but that's not too important, because I think we can go back to Thomas is ready and Forever, because they are both fighting for position here. Let's keep here a look at Darts actually overtaking Maggio into the that transition section, so he's able to do something. And I think I saw driver go wide behind. I think that's Darts. Yes, he is. And he is able still to stay ahead of the other drivers. Here the top 3 very close in this first lap of the race, while other drivers behind are having a chaotic moment, and I think that's still Darts. And 2 drivers who are actually having a little bit of wall bang. I think that was Maggio, Hackbuster and Darts having a contact, and while Darts is falling back towards our friend here, Jason Shot, we move back to Thomas is ready. Sorry if we switch that much, because he is fighting with with Forever for 2nd place, but he's not able to complete the maneuver, and the top 3 move into the S section, while Falcon in the darkness behind is racing and trying to find a way to chase the top 3, followed by Adrian and Hackbuster, while Darts and Jason Short still fight right behind. Whew, what a first lap, lads. Managed... I think everyone is kind of alive. There's a dive from from Thomas, who ends up with a little bit of contact, and if those two really want to go into this section side by side, that's not gonna likely end well. One of two has to concede, but the only thing they concede is the violence, and violence it is, because they managed to get through in... let's say, we say in fila indiana in Italian, but this is not in fila indiana, this is more like in combat formation. And as Thomas is losing a little bit of time from Tits, he's still trying to find a way towards the second place. He's waiting, and maybe he's gonna dive into the last corner. No, he's not. He's gonna probably set up something. He's gonna slow down a little bit too much and avoid a very harsh crash into Forever. All the while, Adrian and Falcon are getting close right behind, and side by side, as we can see, Falcon managing to defend the position from Adrian, and now trying to stay ahead into turn 1, into 4th place, and also into turn 1 as he brakes very late. Jesus Christ, that's a late braking, and Adrian, contact with him. Adrian goes into the wall. He's able to keep the car alive and well, but has to close the door on Hackbasser, who has a little bit of a look on him. And in all of this, somehow Thomas managed to overtake our friend here Forever. So a little bit of a scaraffle, of a schmalugal moment. And as we can see, Adrian and Hackbuster going side by side into the double left-hander. He's gonna try and keep the position on the outside, which is gonna be probably the better exit, but Hackbuster is able to keep the speed up and able to stay ahead for the time being to Adrian. So, dramatic time here in MYASS, and we can see Falcon now trying to have a look at the backside of Forever, trying to find a way through into the darkness, although we are not really able to see him, and maybe into the braking point. Is he able to find a way through? Yes, he is. A very big dive bomb, which ends up with a little bit of contact, but he is able to fight back. In the meanwhile, Hackbuster fighting with, I think it's Adrian. Yes, he is. So a big fight also behind, which I think we are gonna see right here. Also just found out we can change the camera on the O mode on the left side, so very nice stuff, I gotta say. I'm gonna put that nicely back onto normal as soon as possible. But here we can see Hackbuster now ahead of Adrian. Adrian braking very late, and I think he's gonna go wide into the hairpin. Yes, he is. It's not the end of the world, of course, but that's gonna lose him a little bit of time. Now, back into the top side. We can see Forever losing a little bit of time to Falcon, and Falcon into the darkness, chasing now after our friend here, Thomas. In the meanwhile, Alex taking this a little bit easier, of course, but still in the carousel of the backside of the grid, fighting with Darts, fighting with Jason Short, and also fighting somehow with 5-star. There's also Valiant, which is very, very far behind, but I'm not sure why. Maybe he has a crash, and we can see, oh my god, that's Thomas flying into the wall and crashing! That's another plot twist in this race. That's another plot twist. Not even 10 minutes in, and we already have a lot of crashes in this 1 hour and 20 minutes event. And somehow now Falcon is in 2nd place, followed by Forever and Hackbuster, while Adrian also climbs up into P number 5. What a situation! What a situation we have here. Also, we can change the actual onboard on the left side. Just found out that. So yeah, sorry, was just checking that. And let's go back to Maggio, because I can see him actually chasing after our friend here, Darts. He's gonna be able to find a way through. I think he is. He's gonna probably try a dive into this corner. Yes, he is. He gets to the inside and is able to climb into P7 for the time being. Now, as Maggio, sorry, has 4.3 seconds of free air until he reaches the top guys, the top 6 with Thomas, Adrian, and so on. We move back to them because Forever, he can look on the back of his car and see, you know, some very, let's say, menacing look from the other cars. The Hackbuster, AMD, the Estella Galicia from Adrian, and of course the Agile Racing Team from Thomas. And then of course, way behind, Alex Maggio, now getting to grip with the car, getting to grip with, you know, everything, climbing and getting likely closer to these important positions. And as, there's a little bit of a wall tap, which is not really a little bit, that's one heck of a wall tap. You can see Hackbuster having now finally the run for P3. He manages to close the gap before the braking point, but Forever decides to brake as late as possible. Is this gonna be a switchback? Yes, it is. And as a textbook switchback goes on, Forever loses the place. Hackbuster climbs up to P3, and now Adrian may be able to sniff a little bit of a hope situation from this battle right ahead. All the while, Tits is running away as best as he can with his current lap time, which I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's valid actually. Let me just check real quick. Currently, the last lap was a 3 minute 53, while everyone is in the 54s or 58s in some cases. All the while, Forever and Adrian are now fighting into the double left-hander. Is Adrian gonna be able to complete the overtake, or is gonna have to, you know, concede something? All the while the menacing Alex Maggio is right behind and closing back to them. Into the left-hander, there's likely a switch back from our friend Forever, who manages to get side by side with him, going towards the left-hander. Now, who is gonna blink first? I think Forever is gonna be able to be right ahead of Adrian before the braking point, but likely Adrian is not gonna let this one slide. And so he is trying something, probably into the braking point for the chicane. He's gonna try on the inside. He's having a look, but all the while also Thomas from the darkness emerges and tries the maneuver around the outside and manages to overtake actually Adrian. So Thomas overtakes Adrian, gets into the chicane a little bit too wide, and now towards the hairpin, all the three of them fighting with all their might, going towards now the braking point, and as lights flashes, we're gonna have likely a 3 wide moment, which is not gonna end well very much. And they brake as hard as possible. Say Adrian once again, I think, misses his braking point, but not too much actually. He's managing to stay there, and they are still gonna fight as hard as possible. Maggio is getting closer, guys. You don't have to fight this hard, and there's a lot of pressing, a lot of moving, a lot of moving and sliding. And so as Thomas manages somehow to get ahead of Forever in the braking point, he is now trying to stay inside the track limits, which is gonna be hard, and once again Forever fights back and gets ahead back into P5. What a situation and what a fight this was. Probably my favorite racing action we've seen so far in this championship. And now, as Thomas is tailgating as hard as possible, our friend Forever, Adrian finally has a break and can try to run away. But into the exit of this section, somehow Thomas finds the grip in mid-air and manages to overtake Forever. And now, up into P5, he's gonna try and chase after our friend Adrian. All the while, instead Forever goes wide, and now he's gonna be under pressure from, of course, Forever. All the while this happened, Hackbuster is chasing and getting close to Falcon, so I would like to keep an eye on him. So I'm gonna put Alex Maggio here on the left-hand side of the monitor, of course, while we stay close to Hackbuster. Actually, I feel like it's better if we go back to Maggio and do the opposite. So we see Hackbuster here, while Maggio likely is gonna try a maneuver on our friend Forever. Forever currently trying his best, absolutely, to defend the position, but Alex very insistent, very likely trying to find a way to get a maneuver done onto the other Italian driver, and I think he's gonna probably likely dive here. Yes, he is. He's gonna try and brake late, and braking late he is. Is Forever trying to do a switchback? Yes, he is. He's gonna get a better exit. Yes, he is. And is he gonna try and go side by side into the left chicane? Yes, he is. This may not end well. Forever decides to keep this one in, but also decides to, you know, live and let let Maggio drive towards another battle, which is of course the one between Thomas is ready and Adrian right ahead. So, man, what a start. What a start, and we are not even, you know, 10 minutes in, but not even 20 minutes in. So, as we have a little bit of a braking space, which is, I mean, not a lot, we have Hackbuster actually going faster than everyone with a purple with a purple lap time. I'm not sure how purple really. Let's actually have a check real quick. 3 minutes 52.4. He's chasing after Falcon, putting a lot of pressure here into the night. And as that happens, we also have, you know, Alex Maggio getting close to Thomas is ready, who is also very close to Adrian right behind. So another situation, another battle situation happening in two different places at once. And as we keep an eye on Hackbuster, which is looking the better drivers out of the two, and who is having a little bit of a big slide into this left-hander, we can see also the battle for P4 on the left-hand side of the monitor. Anyway, in this little bit of a, you know, kind of calm moment we are having in this race, we have to wonder what's the strategy gonna be like, because we are into, I don't know, lap number 3, lap number 4, very likely number 4, And I know for a fact that usually these cars are able to do likely 9 laps with a full tank of fuel. So either people are gonna try and, you know, do a short stint or something like that, or are gonna try and invent something, or we are gonna be surprised. In the meanwhile, I think I see Thomas is already getting finally a run on our friend here. Yes, he is. So let's do the opposite. Let's show Hackbuster on the monitor on the left. But as Thomas finally managed to get a maneuver onto our friend Adrian, there's also Alex Maggio right behind, braking late and probably, very likely, getting a maneuver done as well. And they are now side by side into the S section. And I wonder, are they gonna be able to stay side by side here, or is Alex Maggio gonna try anything else? I think he's gonna dive back inside the racing line and wait for a better occasion for a maneuver. In the meanwhile, also Hackbuster sees, you know, in darkness, a Falcon having a little bit of a mistake, and there's also a little bit of a bump between them. And all the while that happens, side by side action once again. And is Alex Maggio gonna be able to complete the maneuver around the outside around here? It's gonna be difficult, and of course you have to be careful for that cab right here. And he wisely decides not to take it and wait for another occasion to fight against our friend here. Also, something has happened behind, because I think I saw flash from, I think that was Firestar. No, actually I think someone disconnected. Is it? Yes, there's the DNF. I'm not sure from who. There's everyone for Firestar, Eve, Dots, Adrian, Alex Maggio, Thomas, Hackbuster. I'm not sure who disconnected. So if you're able to tell me who is that, then tell me, because I'm not able to recognize who actually left the race at this moment. I think it was Forever, actually. Forever was exited the race, so something has happened to him, and that's a disaster, because that's gonna spell the end, probably, for his chances to get into the top 10, which is very, very sad, in my opinion, for the nice race he was actually having. So, as we have the first technical DNF of this race, which is, well, I mean, very, very, very frustrating, I have to say, if you know the kind of position. We have a double battle, one for the podium and one for, I know this one is P4, and Alex is trying with all his might to get into P4, and now before the breaking point I think he's gonna be able to do so, with Thomas now trying to find a way through, and there's a little bit of contact, and Alex manages just about to save the car, but Thomas is fighting back with a little bit of dirty touching, a little bit of dirty dancing between these two of them. And now into the death chicane, he's able to stay ahead, but how long? Because he thinks he's gonna go into the wall, and Alex Maggio hits the wall as well, but not in the way he was thinking, and he's gonna lose the place to Adrian as well. Surely not the way he was thinking about fighting this battle, but surely one that has happened. In the meanwhile, Tits having a fast lap, and Adrian losing the rear end of the car, and he's spun completely. And there's also another car, which is Dots, who gets close but manages to avoid him. And as he's struggling, we're gonna move towards, let's see, Hackbuster, who is currently fighting with Falcon. So, dramatic moments here in this night race. Still a very long way to go, still 58 minutes left in the pit window, and of course 1 hour and something left in the race. And the top 3 are all here. Tits is inside. I think he made a mistake somewhere, because these two managed to catch him quite quickly, and now he's inside for a battle for the lead. Meanwhile, back to Maggio, chasing after Thomas. And also Adrian, likely gonna be trying to fight back against Firestar, Darts and so on. As we wait and see what happens, we take a look at Hackbuster, chasing after our friend here Falcon into the darkness, as he of course is hiding his presence with his headlights, of course, not clearly on. And we wait as the clock is almost at 10 p.m. here in Croatia. I think Hackbuster is a little bit too far away, so we move back to Maggio here, who is instead very close and trying a maneuver down the outside into the technical chicane to Thomas, but Thomas once again able to defend quite nicely. Is now Alex gonna be able to fight back, to find a way through into this next section? I think actually something is happening, because I think Falcon had a mistake, and now Hackbuster managed to actually get ahead. I'm not sure where, but while that happens, down the outside, Alex is finally able to get past Thomas, and now he has 9 seconds to recover to get into the fight for the top 3. While that happens, Falcon had a mistake and lost position to Hackbuster, and now Hackbuster, in all of this, is chasing after Tits. So, yeah, the fight for the lead is still on. And this is quite an exciting race. Oh, and there's a big mistake from Thomas. He went a little bit too wide. and he has lost now a little bit of time to our friend Maggio, who is now starting to get into the chase for the lead. Now, back into the battle for Pichu. We have Falcon versus Hackbuster, and Tits right ahead, looking in his rear mirror, and likely seeing this battle, and wondering how these two, actually these three, are gonna fight between each other, to likely help him to get somewhere safe, and that somewhere, of course, is the, you know, the lead of the race, likely. I still don't remember what lap are we in. We are currently in the 4th lap, going to the... Actually, this is the 5th lap of the race, so we are not too much into the first stint. We can likely see still at least 20 minutes of racing before we see the first pit stop. But what, as I said before, strategy is going to be quite the protagonist here in this race. So with that said, we have to wonder who's gonna be the first one to blink, who's gonna be actually the smartest with the strategy, because that's gonna be quite a factor. And all the while that happens, we have to wonder who's gonna win this, because this battle for the lead is very close, also in lap times and everything. And with the slightest mistake, as you saw before, everything can unravel quite quickly. Of course, either mistakes or, you know, technical stuff, like it happened for the very unlike Forever, who has now quite a job in his hands to try and catch the only driver who's currently ahead of him, which is Valiant, and is 99 plus seconds ahead, so that's gonna be quite the task for him. That being said, as we see Falcon driving into the night, this is the closest gap we have currently, because the other one is actually... Wait, Thomas, I think, did another mistake. Yes, I think he had a crash into the chicane, and now Firestar, very close, is gonna try and overtake him actually quite easily. So Firestar gets into P6 by doing, well, kinda nothing, but still, you know, not doing mistakes is more than nothing. So that makes him climb up into P6, and while that happens, we have Hackbuster close to Tits for the race lead. So the battle for the lead is currently on, and I think we're gonna have to watch this one quite closely. Let's actually go on board to our friend Hackbuster, protagonist in this race, and Tits is struggling quite a lot with probably tire wear, so I wonder if there's something different in their strategies, in their setups actually. Falcon also behind, without a light, having his best. Look at the view, and I see actually the first pit, which is from Jason Shot. Interesting stuff. I don't know what kind of strategy he's employing, but likely it's gonna be quite an interesting one. So let's keep an eye on him, of course, later on, as everyone then has to pit. And while that happens, while he's waiting in the pit lane for likely his nice dose of fuel and, of course, some new tires, we see in the darkness of the night, actually we don't see because everyone is driving with their lights off, and now we can see them quite closely and quite nicely. We wait for drivers to get into this happen and fight once again for the other positions, the one that matters, the one for the lead of the race. Very hard to see Falcon, but I think we're gonna be able to see him now on this light we can actually have on the road. And as the top three race quite nicely, Maggio hasn't been able to actually close back to them. He's still 10 to 11 seconds behind, and he was in 9 seconds, so maybe he did a mistake as well. And there's a mistake from the leader of the race. Tits has spun. Tits has spun and lost the position to Hackbuster and Falcon. Now Hackbuster is now leading the endurance race here in Dragon Trial in Croatia. So, new race leader, Hackbuster, Falcon right behind, 1 second, and now Tits 6 seconds behind, has a lot of work to do. And of course, even worse, he has, well, a lot of lag, a very big lag spike, but even worse, he has Alex Maggio right behind, closing, and very more in a fighting position compared to before. So, dramatic situation here in this race. The early leader of the race has a big mistake and now has a big task at hand to get the race into a nice position. Meanwhile, we go back to Falcon chasing after Hackbuster, but Hackbuster keeping a very nice and steady pace. And while that happens, I think there's also a battle forming here between Firestar, Darts and Thomas. All very close. Also, Adrian is not that far, and I think he has the pace to join that fight as well. But for the moment, for the time being, we're gonna stay with Falcon. Actually, let's go on board with him in complete darkness with his helmet cam to see the chase for the lead and the chase for Hackbuster. All the while, Alex is now instead chasing after Tits. Very deep into the break, I gotta say. But he's able somehow to get the car stopped. And also very nice exit speed out of the corner. Now, scare view from the helmet cam into the depth chicane. Let's see both drivers close to the wall and then onto the left, lifting a little bit. And ooh, very bad exit from Hackbuster. This may be a chance for our friend, also known as Falcon. Or maybe he's a little bit too far away into complete darkness, like a kid trying to play with the Game Boy on the backside of their parents' car in a night drive. Falcon trying to find a little bit of light in this long fight for the lead between him and Hack. 3:52.1. This is the current lap time from from Falcon, and this is the chase for the lead. We're gonna, of course, cut it short a little bit because Alex is very close to our friend Tits, and now he's gonna have to fight for the podium position. Tits trying to fight into turn 1, but Alex gets very wide, and oh, there's crash! There's a crash! Very big crash, very big shunt between Alex and Tits, which ends up with both of them spinning out. Alex doesn't wait for Tits, but Tits now getting back into position. But both of them lost a lot of time, and now those 9 seconds became 14. Now, back inside, we have Thomas versus Darts, and I think that was an overtake from Thomas on Darts, which ends up with Darts dropping down to 7th place right now. Oh, what a situation we have. What a situation, another dramatic crash, which I felt like was due to some, you know, aggressive or, you know, wishful thinking from Alex. Not gonna give any you know, fault to anyone here. We don't really give any penalties for this kind of stuff. But still, of course, we cannot blame people for this all. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. We go back to this and we can see, I mean, I wish I could say that we can see, but we can kinda see Falcon chasing after Hackbuster, 1 second behind, to be completely honest. And still trying to find maybe a way to get him into a mistake. We are nearing the pit windows now. We are nearing the time where people dive into the pit lane, and I think, as you know, an undercut may be a viable strategy here, or even more than that, likely an overcut, maybe a nice one. So I just wonder who's gonna pull the trigger first, especially between these two, as Falcon actually think has a little bit of a mistake and dropped down to 2 seconds compared to the person he was actually chasing after. So Falcon now finding a little bit of difficulty in chasing after the lead, and he's conceding quite a lot of time, especially in this section, while instead Hackbuster is able to extend his lead to maybe almost 2 seconds. So while that happens, Tits thankfully back and running. 5-star somehow behind in P5. I don't know if he's able to actually catch after Tits or not. Thomas behind is able to now chase after 5-star. Adrian right behind. Darts actually lost the position to Adrian as well. I think I missed that one, so sorry if I did. And now, Falcon actually 8 seconds behind. I think he did a big mistake here. What happened to Falcon? The 1 second I actually take a look away from him, he makes a big mistake, so he is struggling hell of a lot. And while this happened, I wonder if Tits is gonna be able to chase after Maggio, because Maggio, right now, he's pacing, but he's not able to run away from him too much. 2.8 seconds currently the gap. Also, Adrian, now, close finally to Thomas. The time of reckoning has come. And so have I. So let's see if Adrian is actually able now to find a way past Thomas, because those two were fighting, those two showed some great pace, and now the battle is on between the actual pole sitter for this race and Thomas, who wasn't really feeling too, as can we say, what's the correct confident about this race, because he didn't put a lot of practice into this event. But now he's fighting, and he's fighting with the current pole sitter, which of course is a little bit back compared due to an accident he had before. But now Adrian, very close. I wonder if he's gonna dive from that side. I mean, it's a very big wishful thinking, but there's a tap, and ooh, that's not good for neither of them. But thankfully, he decided to be sportive and wait, while Darts instead says thank you and passes both of them. Virus Tits sadly had a little, I mean not really a little, he had a little big accident, and while Hackbuster is the first one to blink and goes into the pit lane, we switch back to Tits because he spun at some point while leading the race, and sadly for that he lost the lead. So anyway, Hackbuster is the first one to go into the pit lane. I think Alex also follows him, and he is also employing some interesting strategies to see where he can actually go with his 2-stopper race. Thomas also is chasing. Now Firestar also goes into the pit lane, so we have the first Mineshaft stoppers from Maggio, Hackbuster and Firestar. All the while, he goes a little bit over the end of the pit lane, and as Hackbuster exits the pit lane nearby Darts, he has cold tires and he has to try to keep the place nearby Thomas and other drivers. So let's see. Thomas getting close with hotter tires, more grip, is able to go past quite easily to the current race leader. So virtually, Hackbuster still the race leader. Falcon still has to stop, of course, so has Tits and Darts. Thomas also has to stop, of course, while everyone else, I think almost everyone else, has stopped at this point. So that being said, now the situation gets quite interesting, and with Darts currently in 3rd place, he may be starting to think, hey, how about one stop? Sadly, I don't think that's gonna be possible, but if it was, surely he will be gunning for that one. Now we stay, of course, here near Hackbuster because he's gonna likely have some fresher tires and likely probably better pace compared to the guys around him, at least not for these first few corners, because the tires have to get up to temperature. And as I say that, Edred now gets ahead of him and easily, with hotter tires, is able to get ahead and away from the race leader. And while this happens, we wait, because strategies have to be played out. And as we reach almost 1 AM in the night here in Croatia, we have a nice train here with Thomas, Darts and Didrid all fighting for, well, I'm not sure exactly what position they are in. I think they're fighting for 5th or 4th, which is still a very nice result if I have to say. Also behind we have Maggio, Firestar, and Valiant. I don't think he actually set a pit stop just yet, but we have Maggio and Firestar chasing after other places. Now back to Edred, because he has managed to catch the other person who is in his same strategy, which is of course Thomas. And as they go through this 3 right-hander, we wait to see if Thomas is gonna have another look and probably try maybe a better maneuver, since the last one ended up quite badly. But once again, it's a very easy mistake to make, such as this one, and there's another contact, but this time is Thomas the one who has the worst of it. And as he spins around, he gets the car back and turning, and with a sorry sight, he gets back running. All the while, Alex Maggio, not so shyly, appears in the background and has someone to hunt right ahead. Whew. We're not even halfway through. Jesus Christ, what? What the hell is even going on in this race? So, while this happens, we have Darts versus Edred also happening. And I just wonder, Edred, which is doing a very big comeback driver comparing what happened in the first stint, is trying his best to try and get to Darts as soon as possible. And considering Darts' position, that would be a very nice comeback in my opinion. So I have to wonder if he's gonna be able to do that. In the meanwhile, Hackbuster of course lost 4 seconds to the cold tires, but now he's surely gonna be able to get some time back. And while that happens, we wait to see if Falcon goes into the pit lane. Nope, Falcon decides to extend another lap. And so those Tits, I think, let's actually see if Tits decides to go into the pit lane or decides to extend. I think he's pitting. I think he is pitting indeed, yes he is. So while Tits is into the pit lane, we wait for these 2 lads here to see if they are gonna pit as well or if they're gonna try and extend. Edred told us before the race that he thinks that a one stopper is possible, so maybe he's gonna try that. And so both Darts and him are gonna go on for another lap. While that happens, we have Tits here in the pit lane. While everyone passes through, we can see the leader of the race. We can see also Thomas probably passing by quite soon. Yes, as he gets released, we can see Thomas is ready here on the right hand side, and we should be able to see Alex Maggio quite soon as well. There he is, so Alex ahead of Tits on the pit exit, actually very close, but now of course Tits will have very likely colder tires and will have to struggle a little bit for this first part, as you can see from the wall bank sadly at the beginning. And as that happens, we go back to Edred, because he is chasing after Darts. And here in the night, the battle is on, and this is a very nice side-by-side in the darkness, going towards the corner right ahead, which is a very long left-hander, a very risky place to overtake, especially in this situation, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that they're gonna be sensible, and sensible they are, because Adrian gets into the inside, but I think Darts is gonna try and fight back by going down the inside, and so he does. And into the breaking point, is Darts gonna be able to break late? He's gonna try, so they're gonna go side by side into the hairpin, but... Sorry, the chicane, but Darts gets a little bit too much onto the curbs, and that compromises his exit for the first half of the chicane. I wonder if it's the second half he's able to chase after, but the answer sadly for him is no. So Edred have to currently temporarily second place, and while Darts is chasing, also Hackbuster is doing as well, and trying of course to find a way through. It is almost 2 AM here in the night, the sun will rise in a few hours time, and we go on board with the current virtual race leader, which is of course Hackbuster, chasing after the 2 mad lads up ahead, which are Adred and of course Darts. Very nice view into the garden section of this track. Hackbuster very calm and collected, but instead Darts goes a little bit wide, so does Hackbuster, but in a little bit of a more controlled way into the triple right-hander, and now into the transition corner, which is this nice left-hander. While this happens, I'm gonna take a sip of tea, because my throat is a little bit dying. And after this tricky corner, they both go towards this nice chicane, and Darts goes a little bit too wide. That's gonna compromise his exit, and I feel like Hackbuster may take a little bit of advantage out of this in the next few corners. We go towards now the right-hander. Here you can actually go flat out if you are brave enough, and both of them are brave enough to do so. Into the braking zone, I wonder if they're gonna go into the third or second gear. Both are good for this one, but Darts still manages to have a nice exit and still manages to stay ahead. I think that very likely our friend here, which is Hackbuster, is not thinking about overtaking too aggressively, because he knows that these two have yet to pit. So there's no reason to fight hard against people that's gonna let you pass anyway in a few moments time. Of course, it's not nice to lose too much time to the persons behind you, but of course at the same time it's a long race. So the less time you lose by fighting, the more time you gain by driving. So while he goes easily into this right-hander, we can see Forever going into the pit lane for his first stop. Adred, I think, had a little bit of a mistake. I wonder if it's gonna try and attack. No, I think Darts is gonna be wise and wait for that. And while that happens, Falcon goes into the pit lane in the background. And while all 3 of them go into the chicane with some very creative line, I gotta say, we see Falcon into the pit lane, and now these 2 wondering if they have to pit as well, or if they are gonna be, you know, thinking about an alternative strategy. Which, as I said, I don't think it's possible, but you never know. And the answer is no, because both of them are gonna go into the pit lane and let Hackbuster go back into the lead of the race. I mean, very likely, I don't think Falcon is yet out of the pit lane. Yes, he's still inside the pit lane. So, battle in the pit lane now, Darts versus Adrian. And while that happens, now Falcon finally gets out. And I wonder, Thomas is also pitting, so the next one close is Alex Maggio, who's gonna have, of course, 3rd place, and I think Falcon quite close ahead. Yes, he is. The gap actually closed quite a lot, so Maggio putting a very nice strategy for the time being, and able to close the gap to just 3.2 seconds to Falcon. So that was a very nice thing. Of course, now Falcon, with likely cold tires, will have to struggle to keep that position. All the while, of course, other places are gonna run away as fast as possible. Also, I wonder, Darts and Adred, I think I saw a little bit of a mistake from him, I'm not sure. Darts and Adred still exit the pit lane in the same positions, but of course, they're gonna have to fight first with the cold tires and then between themselves for these positions. So, I'm gonna keep an eye on Darts for the time being. Actually, no, let's keep an eye on Darts completely with the full broadcast view, and then go towards Alex later on, because I feel like between him and Falcon that's gonna be an interesting battle. Still, 10 seconds between Falcon and the leader Hackbuster, and while that happens, we also have Valiant going finally into the pit lane, and yeah, some interesting battle going on. I wonder, let's go back to Maggio now, because he is chasing after an invisible person, which is not so invisible, as you can see, he's right ahead. And as we hit 3 AM almost here in Croatia, we wait to see if with hot tires, although slightly more used, Maggio is able to catch Falcon. Actually, I wonder, as I said, in this race it's actually possible to do a double stint, which of course saves you time, but gets you onto more used tire. I wonder if Maggio actually did this, if he's actually driving with still used tires, but of course saved 15 seconds out of the pit lane, and is now able to fight against Falcon because of that. That would be an interesting situation, interesting strategy, and that would pay off, because of course he didn't take the the cold tires, let's say the buff for the first lap, and now he's able to race past Falcon, while he is still struggling for grip to get into temperature. So while Falcon goes also a little bit wide, I think right behind, he is able to get ahead and now chase after the leader. Now we go instead to Firestar, who is instead fighting with Thomas is ready for the time being. I'm not sure how we got into this situation, but here we are. And Thomas is struggling. He's struggling a lot to get grip. Well, instead Firestar is trying his best to find a way through, fighting and maybe able to find something to catch through our friend here, Thomas, who apparently was not ready for the grip situation here in Croatia. And as he takes off once again, I think he's gonna go into the wall. Yes, he is, and he's gonna crash into the Kiwi driver once again. A very unfortunate crash, who's gonna cost both of them a lot of time. Which, I mean, it's not too nice, but yeah, that's what happens when you make a mistake, sadly. A lot of crashes in this race. That's probably also due to the fact that it's a very long track, and a lot of people didn't really prepare too much for this. While that happens, we can see Falcon still staying close to Maggio, but not close enough yet to be able to dent his current race pace. I just wonder if the tire change thing I was thinking, Maggio goes into the wall, and well, as I said before, a lot of crashes this race, and there's another one up to us. Maggio, somehow still alive, but back into third place, now sees from the darkness of the tunnel a friend or an enemy from a long time ago called Tits getting down the inside and now fighting back for the podium. And both of them now have to fight, go side by side towards turn 1, and we wonder once again who's gonna brake and blink first. I just wonder if my theory, the fact that Maggio is doing a double stint, is actually correct, or he is actually fooling all of us with a great race pace. And surely he's fooling Tits, because that was a very nice switchback, and is able to go back into P3, while Tits is trying his absolute best to stay close, and there's another very questionable racing maneuver between both of them. And as Maggio is out of the race, taken out by Tits, and probably not very happy with the current situation, we watch as the race unfolds. Oh man, that was surely not the best thing that could have happened. We'll have to wonder if we'll have to do something with the race direction. Surely there are gonna be a lot of people not really happy with how racing has unfolded in this specific race. But with that being said, at least the bright side we can say for all this is that this truly is the thing that Lopter was hoping for in this race, although of course none of us was really hoping for this. And while that happens, while Tits continues to drive into the night, we have very big gaps now between drivers, and we have Firestar now, the only driver who is close to anyone else, which is close to Thomas, who is, well, still alive, but also had a little bit of a hairy moment between him and Firestar. So a lot of crashes happen in this race, and a lot of questionable racing moments. But still, thankfully, 38 minutes left to go, so the torture is not gonna last forever, at least there's that. And with that, I just wonder if there's gonna be any more plot twists in this race, because of course this was not the kind of end we wanted to see for some of these drivers, but of course the ultimate one we had to witness, sadly. Also, there's a driver behind Firestar, which I think it's Forever actually. Is it actually Forever? I think he is. I'm not sure, because Forever of course is a lot out of sync since I had of course that disconnection before in the race. So I'm not sure if that was him or someone else. I'm not too sure. Maybe I was just imagining things. Oh, actually I think I was watching Thomas, and that was Firestar, so my bad on that. So, big gaps. Hackbuster still leading with a 16 now seconds lead out of Pichu, Then Falcon, lost into the night, unseen from everyone. Tits, who was the race leader for a big portion of this race, now in P3, followed by the one who was actually the pole sitter, Edred, in P4. Dars, instead, running nicely in P5, wondering if this race is ever gonna come to an end, this endless night. And there's a yellow flag. I think that was Firestar. No, that was Thomas. Thomas made a mistake once again in the section of the transition, which is likely the one where he's actually struggling the most. And now he is close to Firestar. So I wonder if he's gonna have to fight back, if he's gonna have to do something to get past. Let's stay on board with this battle, mainly because these two are the closest we have on track. And as we wait, of course, for the second stint to start at some point, we ask ourselves, what went wrong in this race? Many drivers will be wondering that, of course, at this point. But this is just the nature of these kind of things. People, as we know, on the tarmac is kill or be killed. Or kill at this point, I guess. And in MYASS, sadly, everything is allowed, which means that even this, although it's, you know, not the best kind of thing ever, was technically allowed. I mean, I'm not saying that, of course, we should... Ooh, there's a big mistake here from Thomas. I think he's struggling a lot with his tires at this point. But, yeah, the only thing we can say, really, is that likely, at least, there was no real intention to do damage. Like, I don't think that the accident between Tits and Maggio was because Tits wanted to crash into Maggio or anything like that. So, there's at least that. But surely, one thing that we'll have to do after the end of this race is a little bit of a talk between the drivers about the driving standards, because, you know, I think there was a lot of optimistic maneuvers in this race, which ended up quite badly. So probably a discussion about that will have to be had at the end of this. In the meanwhile, once again, Thomas experiencing likely what he experienced in Sebring as well, which is the post-race fatigue, which is now hitting as hard as a brake, and hitting his lap time quite hard. Either that or the tires dying on him. And while that happens, as we hit 5 in the morning, we go back to Adred, because he, silently, is closing the gap to Tits. So his fight for the podium actually is not over yet. And as I said, he had quite a rollercoaster race. He started in pole, then had that accident, then of course he's back into the fight, had to fight back through the grid, and now somehow is into P4, which is a very nice position, I gotta say. And as the night is finally coming to an end in the next few minutes, he's very likely gonna have to fight or find a way to get to Tits, who, as you can see, is just ahead in the road. I wonder if Tits is actually struggling as well, because of course, with his current situation, he's likely trying to keep the pace as high as possible, which is not gonna be as easy as you think. Also, I think also Firestar made another mistake, because I can see on the left-hand side that the gap got back to 2.4 seconds. So once again, a lot of yo-yo effects, let's say. People driving faster at some point, then slower at some points, and so on. Now, I don't know when people made some pit stops, I didn't really check too much, but we have to ask ourselves when the second one is gonna happen, because 33 minutes left to go is still a long time, and of course I don't think people have enough fuel, even with lift and coast, to actually be able to, you know, drive away, get to the end of the race with the current fuel load. So while that happens, we go back maybe to Thomas. Actually, let's go on board with him, chasing after Falcon, after Firestar, trying to get maybe into a striking position, while instead Hackbuster leads with a nice 18 seconds gap, which is probably the biggest gap we had so far. So surely he's enjoying the current situation. Surely he doesn't want another plot twist in this whole event. And well, as that was very close to the wall, and this was a little bit too close to the grass, we can see just how our friend here, Thomas, is struggling and trying to catch the Kiwi right ahead. And so, as that happens, also Edred is managing to close up the gap to Tits, and now he's 2 seconds, 2.2. So he's doing his absolute best. Also, there's a crash. I think yes, Jason Short went a little bit too wide in the S section, but he's still able to drive, so nothing too bad. Now, back into the Death Chicane, we can see now Edred getting into this section. Now into the left-hander, into the right-hander. I saw Tits getting a little bit hairy. And here it is, because now Adrian is getting closer and closer. So this battle for P3, he is starting to brew. And I think Tits is likely starting to feel the pressure, because, you know, you got this guy getting closer and closer and closer every lap. And that is something to keep in mind, of course. The battle for P6 is the one to look off. But of course, the battle for the podium, I think, is a little bit more important at the current situation. So, with Tits trying to run away from Adrian, with Hackbuster keeping Falcon in check, we wait for the last stop of the race, and we wait to see how things are gonna, you know, deploy in this last part of this exciting and very crash-filled race. We go now into the double left-hander, with Tits and Adrian both very close to one another, with two very different lines, which are gonna pay off towards the end of this straight right here, as we hit now almost 6 AM in the morning, and the light is still shy to shine bright in the sky. So it has been a very night race, this one, I gotta say. But I'm pretty sure the sunrise is not that far away, so people were gonna see a lot of light quite soon. So, sorry of course about the very big night race we had, but one has to happen at some point. It's not exactly how I envisioned it, but that's okay. And as they both go towards the sea, down the hill, towards the hairpin, we can also see Thomas actually lost a lot of time to Firestar, so now the gap is 10 seconds, so likely another mistake from Thomas. We go into the left-hand side, and we see now Tits finally managing to lock a little bit in and get a little bit of time between him and the chaser, which is of course Adrian. Let's actually go on board with him with the helmet cam to see how he's able to stay close to the guy who managed to win one race in the first round. And of course he's still ranking up points race after race after race and so on. They go towards the transition corner, one of the hardest in this entire track, where you have to stay close here to the right hand side, then brake and go into the left, close to the wall but never too much, and then of course drive towards this left-hander here. Once again, another tricky one. Seems very easy, but it's very hard to actually get right. And then of course you just drive off. I think Tits actually had a little bit of a wobble, because I can see from the delta that Adrian managed to close the gap quite a lot. And now, as he takes a very nice line towards that corner, he brakes, corners, corrects a little bit, because I think he turned in a little bit too early. And I feel like this is the part where he's stronger than Tits. I feel like Tits struggles a lot in this section here. 6 AM in the morning, now here in Croatia, and Tits trying to get this section right. I think he has a little bit of a lift there. That may explain why Adrian is actually as competitive as he is here. Actually, I think like Adrian also lifted, because I can see the gap is now going towards Tits' favor. And now they both brake for this corner here. I think Tits went a little bit too wide. No, actually I think it's right. I think it's Adrian the one that went a little bit wide. And now into the death chicane. We stay on board with Adrian to see how close to the wall they go. Big strange line from Tits, and as they go into the chicane, what a close call to the wall that was from the guy ahead. They now go towards the last corner, waiting of course for the battle. Tom fall at some point, both pushing to the absolute limit, knowing that the slightest mistake can make the difference between a podium and a P4. Still both respectable position, and Tits decides that he had enough. And this is the right time to actually pit and take probably fuel and tire for the last part of the race. So, as he pits, we wait. As you can see, average pit time is 38.7 seconds. We wonder where he will actually go out and if it's gonna be in traffic or not. Now, that's of course right behind, goes through the last corner. Wondering if he's actually gonna pit or not. No, he's not. He's gonna have to extend a little bit, but makes sense because he made a very long first stint and very likely he's gonna pit later. And I wonder how close he's gonna be to Firestar, because Firestar is near the last corner now, and Tits is exiting the pit lane in this exact moment. Yes, he is. So, as the pit limiter gets away, he's gonna have to contend with cold tires once again. Except, of course, if he's making a double stint, but I feel like he's not. And as he gets out and very close to the wall, we wait to see if Firestar is gonna get too close to him in this moment of, you know, weakness with the cold tires. And the sky finally gets lit by the beauty of the sun, of the sky, of the universe. And as we finally see the sunlight shy of night getting on of cursed drivers on this cursed race to shine some final light on this dark and obscure race, we finally see Tits getting to grips with his cold tires, trying to find a way through to the end of this race. Back to, I don't know, the leader of the race. Hackbuster actually catching forever. There's also Alex Maggio, finally in the chat. Hello Maggio. Sorry for the DNF, of course. I was wondering what happened, but I mean, we saw that live, so I left because I needed to go to eat. Oh, okay, so you... Okay, so at least it's nice to see that you are not mad for what happened. At least I hope so. So, yeah, so Maggio sadly had to DNF due to the Matriciana problem, as we say in the usually in this thing. So at least it's nice to see that he's fine on everything. But yeah, sad of course to see him out of the race, but it is what it is, as we say, and sometimes it is what it is. But look at the bright side. Now, the sun is rising, and answering Virus, no, Darts hasn't pitted yet. We have to wonder if he's trying to do one stopper, but I don't think so. I think he's gonna do a two stopper soon, so we'll keep an eye on him. We now have a look at Akbasta, still in the leading the race, catching after Forever, who is slapped, but not because he wanted, really. He had a disconnection early in the game. All good because I killed Tits twice anyway. Okay, so yeah, nice to see that at least Alex is not mad or anything. That's nice to see. So, the sun is finally rising, and so the leader is going towards the last corner. It eats what it eats, and the leader, Backbuster, finally goes into the pit lane for his last stop as the sun rises. All the while that happens, I wonder where is Tits? Tits still fighting with his car. Firestar right behind, fighting with his life, really. And let's go on board with him, actually. Let's see the section from the onboard of Tits to see how it drives through this section. Or a DNF for you. Nice one. We're gonna have to make an image about that, like with the Miata instead of Joker. That would be absolutely fantastic. Now, ahead of him, Darts still driving. Hackbuster now probably exiting the pit quite soon. Actually, let's have a look at him. Yeah, exiting right now. Edred right behind, still running. I don't think he's gonna be able to have 23 minutes with his current fuel, and he is still behind the leader. But with hot tires, he may have a chance to fight for the lead. Although, you know, there's no reason, I think so. And he tries round the outside, and with one of the best maneuvers I've ever seen. That was absolutely beautiful. I want an oil painting of that, because that was absolutely it was common. I mean, I'm literally moved by that maneuver. That was amazing. We wait, of course, for the last 23 minutes. We have a question from Maggio. If I join the race, would that be to my would it be there? Yes, you would be. But of course you would be also a few laps down. I mean, you would still be able to race to be in the middle of the track, but the main issue is that you will be a lot of laps behind. So if you want to join, of course you can. So you see no issue from my side, of course. While this happens, we also have Firestar in the pit lane, and as the sun quickly rises through the tree line, we saw a little bit of mist been lifted by the morning light, which is quite curious. But we wait and see as Tits now finally has catched Dots. So let's have a look at him. Is Darts gonna be able to catch and fight Tits, or is gonna be a little bit more passive and wait for his time to not be, you know, cut off by a battle that he doesn't not want to fight. Especially considering that Tits is fighting with Adrian. The answer is no, he decides to go out of the way and let Tits run away. I mean, if you wanna do lap time hunting, Alex, you can actually do that. I see no problem. Of course, as long as you don't crash into other drivers, that would be a little bit not too nice of you. But I know that you are a good driver, so I trust you on that. So if you wanna go back into the race, I see no problem on that. So, I say that, we can see other people into the pit lane, and with Tits now finally getting ahead, and behind, of course, Hackmaster, which is 35 bloody seconds ahead. We also see, I don't know, Valiant getting into the pit lane, speeding maybe a little bit, but that's okay. And of course, other drivers still driving. Falcon, now finally able to be seen on the light of day. Adrian still fighting, and still is the guy I'm wondering where he's gonna be out, because he was fighting directly with Tits. So now that he goes into the pit lane, he may be into a situation where he's maybe able to complete an overcut on him, or maybe an undercut, not sure about that. And with a strategic battle for the podium happening right before our eyes, we wait, of course, for the last 20 minutes of the race. With Falcon currently leading, although not really because he has to pit yet, and with other drivers trying to find a way to survive this last section. 1 hour has passed, and we have some more minutes left to go. And Maggio joins back, as he said, right ahead, to be able to just hunt a little bit of lap time. So, as we said before, I trust him on not being a nuisance to other drivers. I know that he will be like Daniel Ricciardo in 2018 when he went out of the pit lane, like, I don't know, was it like 10 to 11 laps later, so something like that. So trusting him on that, we watch as Adrian goes through the chicane, and now into the last corner with his tired eyes after a long night of driving. He goes into the last corner, very wide, but thankfully no damage done, and he continues for another lap. I'm starting to wonder if he's actually doing what he announced he wanted to do, which is of course a possible one-stopper. I doubt it, but you know, if he's able to do that, he's currently 6 seconds ahead of Hackmaster, so technically in the lead of the race. I see it quite difficult for him to be able to do that, but you never know. Enough of this, Maggio fighting, driving to get the 49, which is a fast lap time. It was my current personal best, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna be not also able to do that, but very likely smash that out of the window. We see Hackmaster getting past a very nicely moving Forever, who decides to move out of the way because he has, of course, blue flags. And now chasing after Adrian, who has yet to pit, of course. Also darts into the pit lane. We can see Tits getting past him quite easily after the pit stop he had. And as Windows is telling me he wants to install something, which is of course having to contend with a hard no on my side during this exact moment, we wait to see how the gaps are gonna look like, because now Darts gets out of the pit lane and Thomas is ready to overtake him. And is he gonna be able to do that with his current tire situation, with the current warmth of the tires? Yes, he is, but not before giving a big slap to the ass of Darts. So that was a friendly reminder of the fact that his tires were a little bit too cold. But I think that Darts will be, yeah, maybe a little mad on that, but not too much. It's very humid, as you can see. There's a lot of mist in the air, but that's thankfully not too difficult. Nothing too difficult to see through. So drivers are probably feeling a little bit of sleepiness on the track, but nothing too harsh. Now, Cap's getting closer. Falcon's still leading, still not pitting, but I feel like likely he's gonna have to go into the pit lane quite soon. 17 minutes left. I feel it difficult to go on full fuel saving towards the end. I mean, it could. It would be extremely difficult, but it could. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes into the pit lane, but I would be extremely surprised if he actually lifts and coast towards the end of the race somehow. It would be interesting in my opinion, but also very unlikely. And while that happens, Hackmaster still 8 seconds behind Adrian, and Adrian still running his race. Either against Hackmaster or either against Tits, which is of course the other guy he was fighting before the pit stops. We can just about see him in this mist. as he drives into the hills and into this fast section of the seaside section of the track. Left-hander, then of course right-hander, and then of course once again left-hander, where you have to keep the car not sliding and going as fast as possible towards then this downhill section, which leads, of course, to the death chicane. The battle for P4 is actually quite close. You can see Teets, Thomas and Darts all close together, but I feel like that's not the battle that's gonna unfold in the next few laps. I mean, maybe it is, but I'm not too sure. And as we see Adrian, with some curiosity, through the death chicane, we move back to the current leader. Actually, no, we move back to Thomas because he made a mistake and let Darts through. We move back to Falcon to see if he actually gonna pit, and yes he is, so no one-stopper for the German driver, which, as I said before, is not surprising. And we wait instead to see if Adrian is gonna try and do a one-stopper instead. He's gonna go into the pit lane at the end of this lap. No, he's not. He's still staying out. So with 15 minutes left to go, I go on board with him to see if there's a way to find out how much fuel he has. I don't think there is, because we can see the current gear, we can see the speed, the water temperature, and OT, I don't know what it is, should be overtake likely. And we can also see the wall getting very close to him. But he's there, and also Falcon somehow is ahead of Falcon. Wait a fucking minute, how did Falcon get here? What kind of strategy is he doing? Falcon is able to somehow get the position on a Hackbuster, so we get a sudden plot twist. Falcon is now the leader of the race, because he's ahead of the race leader, so not sure what happened on the strategy side. But now, with Falcon finally ahead, he has to contend, of course, with worn tires. Actually, I wonder, he's able to turn the car quite nicely. I wonder, did he actually avoid putting new tires in this last stint? That may be the key. That was maybe the reason the gap was that big during the last part of the race. So wait a minute, this is not over. The strategies have played out, and somehow Falcon emerged on top of the race leader, Hackbuster. So this fight for the lead is not over just yet. We have, well, quite an interesting situation, I gotta say. We have Falcon ahead of Hackbuster, and we have Adrian still yet to pit with 14 minutes left to go on the clock. What has happened here? I wonder if that's what happened. I wonder if actually Falcon decided not to change tires in this last stop. Actually, let's see if there's maybe a way to tell. Here, with the tire age, they say 16 laps, which is of course not correct. They did of course 16 laps. That's probably most likely what the correct answer. Actually, I feel it's more than 16 laps at this point, 17 likely. But that being said, oh man, now we have a battle for the lead, and Hackbuster is not gonna let this one slide. I think he's gonna fight this one to the bitter end. And with that being said, he's starting to fight right now, because Hackbuster doesn't want to let this one run away. He doesn't want Falcon to have an easy win. And into the transition section, the battle between the two protagonists of this race, two very distant protagonists that left us with a quite boring middle part of the race, a very boring night, and light the morning with this fight, which is less than 1 second close. Oh man, all of this I wonder, is Adrian still ahead? Yes, he is. He's still yet to reach the pit lane, or at least the start-finish straight, to see if he's actually fast enough to, you know, reach and do another stop. Ooh, Hackbuster goes a little bit too wide, and that's gonna cost him. That's gonna cost him a lot. Hackbuster loses an entire second to Falcon, and that's gonna drop him quite a lot back. And now Falcon somehow is leading the race and running after the other driver, who we are wondering if he's actually trying a different strategy or if he's actually staying on the line with a one-stopper, sorry, with a two-stopper. Everything is happening here. Everything is happening, and with a bleak plot twist, we have everything on the line. 12 minutes left to go. We also have Alex Maggio right ahead, trying to reach for his fast lap time. And while Adrian gets a little bit too close to the wall, we have Hackbuster still fighting back, still getting below the 2-second mark. He does not want to let him run away. We have the fight between Thomas's Radiant Darts, we have the fight between Hackbuster and Falcon, and we have the fight for the lead between Hackbuster and Adrian. And I wonder, is Adrian gonna pit? Sadly for us, yes he is, so he does not have the fuel to finish the race. So now, the battle between Hackbuster and Falcon, although 2 seconds separates them, is the battle for the lead. Now I just wonder, where is gonna Adrian end up after this pit stop? He was fighting with Tits, and that was one fast pit stop! This brings Adrian way back into the fight for the lead, or at least in the fight for the podium. So he's gonna exit the pit lane very close to Forever.exe, which I feel like he's gonna try and, not get into this fight. But Adrian, with an amazing fight back, is now in 3rd place and not that far away from the leaders. So incredible strategy by him. Very likely this is gonna be his double stint. So the one where he has worn tires but is able to drive, and considering the fact that this car actually turns, it means that he's still up to temperature, and that means of course that he is still in the chase for the lead. And we go back of course to Hackbuster, because he has 10 minutes to change history. He has 10 minutes to make every single second, every single inch of grip he has in these tires fight for him. Because of course the main difference between them is gonna be of course the tires difference, because I feel like that one did a double stint earlier and one did a double stint later, and this is the main reason they are so close but so different in pace. And well, we have to wonder, he's gonna Hackbuster be able to fight back? Is he gonna be able to close back that 1.8 seconds and reach Falcon? Or has this Falcon got it? Is Falcon gonna be able to emerge victorious after what has been one hell of a fight? We also watched Thomas is Ready chasing after Dots in the battle for P5 after what has been one hell of a night, one hell of a fight, and one hell of an endurance. Falcon still dominating, still keeping the car directed in the right place. And while this happened, we moved temporarily back to Thomas is Ready and Dots, because they are fighting P6 versus P5 in the last dying part of the race. We'll move out to the battle for the lead, of course, if the gap reduces dramatically, which is kinda doing, and we see Thomas now trying to find maybe a way through, maybe some place to find a gap. But now Darts, either defending or either just driving the best he can, still able to stay ahead. 1.5 now the gap between the leaders. That is something to keep an eye on. Actually, wait a fucking minute, let's go on board with them here as well, because that's one fight we don't want to miss, of course. Hackbusters versus Falcon. Who would have thought? Right at the beginning of this race, I wouldn't have thought this would have been the battle for the lead, but here we are. And also Adrian, he's here, and if those two lads ahead battle, he's not out of it. Not at all. So, as now we can see Thomas tailgating after Dots, trying to find a way through, especially in this section, which is not easy, and he finds out quite harshly by going too wide. We see as Hackbuster is now below the second, but I think he messed up the fast section and is gonna lose quite a lot of tenth here and go back likely to 1.4 if I have to guess. Now into the hardest section for Thomas. He made a lot of mistakes in this section here. Maybe this time he's gonna be able to stay close to Dots and likely not do anything too silly. We're gonna find out soon. He's gonna go a lot wide, but this time is Darts the one who makes some mistakes, and then this is gonna actually give the place back to our friend here, Thomas. Thomas was not ready for the mistake, and so was not Darts. And with Darts dropping back to P6, we move back to Hackbuster because he is flying, and as Maggio finally manages to get it at 49.5, which is the time he was trying to get. We look at Hackbuster because it's 0.8 seconds behind, 8 minutes left to go, and everything here in MYASS is up in place for a fantastic finale. We go towards turn number 1. Let's see how the gap changes. I think likely Hackbuster has better tires. He goes a little bit too wide though. I think he brushes the wall, but the exit from Falcon was not that nice. And now Hackbuster is gonna pile the pressure up to the German driver. Both of them driving as hard as possible, as fast as possible towards the double left-hander up ahead, as everything is getting even more mistier. I think there's fog likely, and as they go towards the left-hander, into darkness, into complete unknown, they both go full speed into the unknown towards that famous left-hander. Who's gonna be the bravest? Hackbuster He's gonna go into the inside. Adrian 5 seconds behind, he's catching them as well. He breaks late, he tries to go for the lead. Is Falcon gonna try and fight back? He is. The fog is incredibly thick at this point. They are fighting in complete white. It's almost impossible to see them. That's incredible. And as they go into the technical chicane, Hackbuster takes back the lead, and also Thomas goes into the pit lane for another stop. Did he miscalculate? Did he miscalculate his fuel? That's a catastrophe if he did. But as that happens, as we cannot actually see anything on the feed, we go on board with Falcon because that's the only way to see this hell of a dive bomb from him and this incredible fight rock from Hackbuster, which manages somehow to get back into the lead. They get out of the white blanket of the fog with Hackbuster still ahead, but Falcon is fighting back. He's fighting back for his might. I think there's contact between the two of them. Yes, there is, but Falcon is able to stay ahead. Now, who's gonna be able to find a way through? I think maybe Hackbuster is gonna try something into this right-hander. He's not. He's gonna try and stay as close as possible. 6 minutes left to go. The battle for the lead is raging on. Incredible scenes here in the fog. Incredible scenes here in Croatia. As they go now into the left-hander, cautiously. I think they are both gonna be fine. A little bit wide from Hackbuster, but still, with the grip he has, he knows that he has it. He knows that he doesn't have to be completely crazy, and so he decides to go side by side into the fog. Meanwhile, behind we can see Adrian just getting closer and closer, and as we can see literally nothing, we can see that Falcon stays ahead for this entire lap into the braking zone. Now Hackbuster trying his best to stay close, and now into the S section, into the fast section, is gonna be able to stay close to Falcon. Let's actually go on board with him because we cannot see anything with the with the broadcast cam. It's completely foggy, and oh no, he goes wide. He goes into an alternative section, and this is not gonna go well because now Falcon is gonna run away and into the in the back from the white. Here goes Adrian. He appears from nowhere, and now he's fighting for P2. The fight back is on as Falcon finally manages to run away and disappear into the mist. We have the battle for P2 now between Adrian and Hackbuster. 4 minutes left. That should be probably either 1 or 2 laps. Depends on, of course, how fast Falcon is going. And now as they go into the death chicane, the death hits Hackbuster, and now of course Adrian is gonna have a run on him. I wonder if it's gonna go into the last corner. I think yes he is. Into the last corner, Adrian is close. Is gonna appear? Yes he is. That's a break and a half. I think Hackbuster is gonna try it, but it's not gonna work. On the outside it doesn't work. And with this, Adrian takes the second place, and now he's gonna try and run away. Maybe, just maybe in one lap, hope for a mistake from Falcon and chase after the lead. What a plot twist in this ending. As the mist, once again heavy, covers the entire track, Hackbuster makes another mistake. And with that we can see how Adrian is now trying to run away, but Hackbuster is not conceding anything. He wants to fight back, turns the lights on, wonders if he can actually brake as late as Adrian, both on the brake quite easily. And now onto the left-hander, both of them trying their best to get onto the exit, but both of them very close, very equally matched. 2.4 seconds away from Falcon, just shy ahead. You can just barely see him in the fog. They are both running. In the meanwhile, Thomas is ready, fighting with Firestar in P7. I'm gonna keep the onboard here as Hackbuster tries to have a look. Now goes to the outside onto the curbs, not able to complete the maneuver or get closer to Adrian, and Adrian now into the brakes, using all the experience he has, but Hackbuster tries a dive. Adrian fights back, switch back from Hackbuster as Adrian goes wide, but manages to keep the position. And both of them once again closing a little bit on Falcon. What a final fight. In the meanwhile, Thomas also versus Firestar with a little bit of questionable contact, which I feel like was probably due to lag. But as they go into the hairpin, all of three of them actually together, because I think Falcon actually missed the braking point, and as Thomas makes another mistake and spins and gets into, you know, P7, We go back to the fight for the lead because nothing is completely decided. These three of them are still fighting for the lead. And somehow, Adrian now is less than 1 second away from Falcon. This battle turned into something crazy. No one could have predicted this. No one could have predicted the fight back from Adrian. No one could have predicted Hackbuster being in this. This is incredible. Right to the bitter end, everyone is fighting to their absolute limit, trying to get something. 1 minute and 48. We don't know yet if this is the last lap of the next one is gonna be. Hackbuster tries a very aggressive maneuver into the chicane, but he's not able to complete it, and he has to contend for third place. Now, all three of them going towards the last section of the track. 1 minute and 30 minutes could 1 minute and 30 seconds, my bad, could decide everything here. And as they go towards the fastest section, finally the fog gets lighter. We get finally to see the battle for the lead. Three people fighting with their hearts out for the lead of the race, with Falcon trying his best to stay ahead, with Adrian keeping Hackbuster behind. Hackbuster trying to have a look, but yet nothing, and he goes a lot wide, and this is gonna cost him in the rundown towards the downhill towards the breaking point. Is Adrian gonna be brave? He's gonna try something. I think it's a little bit too far away, but I wonder, 50 seconds, those may be enough to get another lap. And maybe Adrian is hoping for another lap, because if there's another lap, he can absolutely try and do something. He's gonna have a lot less pressure to get something out of this battle. And as Falcon finally gets a little bit of breathing space here in this left chicane, 30 seconds left to go. Are they gonna have another lap? Are they gonna have to fight? Is Adrian gonna try this on the last corner? Yes, he is! Very late breaking point. Falcon is trying to close the gap, but he's not able. Yes, he is! They are side by side. 10 seconds left. This is gonna be another lap, or it's gonna be the end of it. I think it's gonna be another lap for 7 seconds. For 7 seconds, we get another lap of this amazing race. And Falcon still leads as the clock hits 0. We have the fight for the lead, and there's contact, and Adrian spins. Oh no! Adrian spins, and now he is out of the fight for the lead, but still on the podium. And somehow now Hackbuster is now fighting back. This duel between three drivers is now back to a duel between two of them. And now Hackbuster decides to fight for the lead and decides to go for the inside and takes it. But there's a switchback from Falcon. Side by side once again. Hackbuster has it for the time being, but they both decide to go side by side, full speed towards the left-hander. Who is gonna be the bravest on the brake? Hackbuster is right ahead, but Falcon may try something. He decides not to brake late, and so Hackbuster takes the lead but goes wide. Is Falcon able to fight back? Yes, he is. He's gonna be able to brake late here onto the brakes. Falcon tries it. Once again, side by side into this technical chicane. There's contact once again, and both of them lose a lot of time. But Falcon once again keeps first place. Incredible fighting, incredible drama on the last lap. Also, Thomas's Radiant Firestar had a fight, and Thomas managed to go back into P6. But this is nothing to compare to the drama we're having in the top end of the field. Hackbuster versus Falcon. One last fight, one last dance towards the end of the race. Still a long way to go, still a long fight left for these two. We go into the S section, another technical part. Hackbuster is gonna try the outside, but decides not to. That would have been too crazy. And now towards the tree right-hander, the tree apex corner. Falcon decides to stay close to the apex to avoid all he can to get and stay ahead. Meanwhile, Darts and Firestar have a fight behind, but we are not taking a look at that because this is too much for me. The fog has gone, and so has Valiant for some reason. And as Hackbuster dives with one of the most outrageous drivers I've ever seen, he takes the lead into the chicane. And as Adrian is here hoping for a miracle, hoping for Hackbuster and Falcon to fight a little more, the two of them go too wide because Hackbuster misses the breaking point, and somehow Falcon is back ahead into the lead. Now Adrian back to below the second. both of them, all three of them now going to the last part of this track, the S section. Left-hander once again, very wide from Hackbuster. Now right-hander, it is not on the right line for Hackbuster, neither for Adrian. Now into the left-hander once again. Falcon hoping with all his might that this is gonna be enough, but there's still one chicane separating all of them from the checkered flag. There we go, into the last real corner of this track, going towards the last death chicane, which may decide everything in this plot twist riddled race. We go into the left-hander. Oh no, he's wide, he's too wide. Adrian is back into P2. And with this final mistake from Hackbuster, the order is restored. Falcon brakes for the last corner. Adrian brakes too late for the last corner, but still alive. And somehow, out of nowhere, Falcon wins in Dragon Trail, the second endurance of MYASS. Adrian, first podium for him in P2, then Hackbuster in P3. Then we wait 25 seconds for Tits to take the last corner and concludes his race in P5. Oh man! Tits, here we go, last corner. He was the leader at some point, but he has to feel content for a actually P4, sorry, there's forever for some reason who is actually a lap down. So P4 for Tits. Then somehow, God knows how, Darts manages to finish the race in P5 as well. As we wait for him to get towards the death chicane. Actually, let's wait for him to go past this section, because Jesus Christ Almighty. Oh man, no, Darts, please, no, Darts, please, not, please, the commentator hurt did not catch you, please. Please keep it together, man. You did it. Please take a deep breath, you did it, it's over. It's over, the longest night followed by the whitest morning. It's finally over, man. And as Darts goes towards the last corner and towards the finish line, is able to finish in P5 somehow. Then we wait for Thomas, who had one hell of a roller coaster emotion race. He goes towards the death chicane and into the second chicane, actually a little bit too hot into the second chicane. He has to be careful because Firestar is still behind, so you know, you are not safe yet, buddy, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna be able to complete at least the last corner and stay alive. And as we wait, as I see 5 bloody pings on Discord from a lot of people, actually from other people which are gonna have to be seen later, we see Thomas getting towards the last corner, and now into P7 for the end of the race. We see right behind him, actually P6, my bad. We see right behind him Firestar conquering P7 finally. And of course, in the end, we wait in the last section for Jason Schott to finish his race rightfully in P8. I was not expecting this race to get this exciting in the last few laps. Everyone could have literally won this one. And I'm glad we had this end to the race. And as Jason Schott has, well, an interesting end to his own race, considering that he cannot really be overtaken by forever since he's lap down. We see other drivers, of course, disconnecting after the end of the race. And we wait for Jason to take the last corner and finish this whole event once and for all. Oh, what a race this was. What a race. I simply was not ready for all of this, really. I was not expecting any of this to pan out the way it did. But it did. And so, with our friend here, Jason, crossing the finish line. This, he says in P6, but we know that the position is quite different. We take a look actually at Falcon and the other guys driving in formation towards the end of the race. And as this happens, as we wait for this entire thing to end, whew, let me take a break. Let me take a breath. And well, I really don't know what to say. I was not ready for this last part. This last part was absolutely incredible. I was not even remotely ready for all of this. But I'm glad. I'm glad I did watch this. I'm glad I watched this with all of you. And so, with the final race, let's say, thingy completed. So Falcon, Edge, the Capacitor in the podium, then Tiz, Dot, Thomas, E, Firestar, and Forever in the top 9, and then Valiant in P10. I'll answer Virus, telling him that no, we didn't have damage. And with that, we exit finally the server, and we go into the interview room to get finally some interviews done. There we are, into the interview room. Meanwhile, let me just get my replay ready so we can have something to watch while we interview people. So give me just a moment about that. Where is it? There it is. Dragon Trail, 1 hour and 30 minutes. Yep, it is. So MYASS round 4. Keep replay. There we go. So let me just load the replay real quick. And as we wait for the replay to get loaded, hopefully you can see that on the stream. Hopefully, yes, you can. We can hear quite clearly Tits joining the interview room. And
who the flip did you think was gonna join?
let me just tell you, holy fucking shit, man.
Stop swearing on the internet.
Man, the end of the race was not something I was expecting at all. Literally. So, who do we have in the interview room? We have Tits and Falcon. So, first of all, of course, hello Tits, hello Falcon. Nice to have both of you here. And oh boy, where do we start? Where do we start?
I don't know. I'd say let the race winner speak.
Okay, Falcon.
Yeah, I did not expect this at all after having the last month not done anything for the series, just driving Le Mans 60s cars in preparation for the 12-hour event, not having driven a single lap on this track before the race. And yeah, that's about it. And then I just somehow won after running out of fuel in the middle of the race.
Man, I have a question for you, actually, a big one, really. Because I think I know what you did on strategy, but I want to be sure. Did you actually do a pit stop without changing tires?
Yes.
I knew it.
At the end, on the last lap, I was on full red tires on the front and yellow on the right rear.
Man, let me tell you, you made up for quite a show for the last few laps, because I'm pretty sure that Hackbuster did the same, but he did actually the stop with tires in the second stop.
I don't know, to be honest.
I feel like
were all over the place because of the pit stops. I lost
I'm pretty sure we'll find out soon when we, of course, interview Hackbuster, because seeing the lap times, seeing the gaps and everything, especially in the second stint, I think that was the case. But of course, he's the one that's gonna confirm all of this. But let me tell you, I'm glad this was the case, because the end part of the race was absolutely incredible. The three-way battle between you, Hackbuster, and of course Adrian.
Amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, everything came in at the same time. Also, just watched the replay and just saw Valiant actually crashing at the start of the race, so that explains what happened to him. So sadly, of course, but
then he actually got past, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's it, second place, nice. And then he went wide on the uphill chicane, and I was like, oh shit, I actually have a shot at winning this now.
Yeah, everything was incredible from beginning to end, and I was not expecting, to be completely honest, that your strategy would have worked, because there were many points at this race where we thought that someone was gonna win, and then literally got, you know, everything else. At some point we thought that Tits here led the first part of the race, and we thought, yeah. I think he can survive this one. Then he had a little bit of a mistake. Then we thought, oh yeah, Hackbuster got it. Then we found out that the strategy was different. Then we thought, oh hey, maybe Edred could do this. And well, I mean, it was a menace to the bitter end. So yeah, what can I say? This turned out to be way better than I expected in the end. So I'm very, very happy to know that this was the case, and I'm very happy that hopefully both of you had fun. So,
Yeah.
that little monologue aside, how was the race completely on both of you? Let's start actually from Falcon point of view, like the entire race. How was, I don't know, first, second stint, and then the last one described from you on, I don't know, maybe a review or a little bit of whatever you want to say, really.
I mean, on the first one, I basically was just driving behind everyone else and putting down good lap times, like better ones than I did in quali, but on full fuel. And then went a bit too far on the full fuel and ran out of fuel at the death chicane. Made it back to the pits, refueled, and then I don't know where I ended up. I think I ended up in second again behind Hackbuster. And then I just made it to the end, did another pit stop without changing the tires. Fully refueling again because I stupid and can't do math. And then yeah, had the three-way fight on completely dead tires.
Makes absolute sense, but yeah, what a race from your point of view. Likely the second stint was likely the most boring one because you were like 20 seconds behind the leader and 20 seconds ahead of third one. But in the end it paid off, driving alone in the night, getting laps time done, and once again driving without the headlights, but I mean I can't blame you for that, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And Tits, from your point of view, how was the race?
Oh my fucking god. Where do I start?
How was the
Okay, so
preparation from
first-
the race? Let's start from the preparation. How was the preparation?
I mean, not bad, considering some of the previous races we did. I did not find it hard to get back on the pace, and after finding out how much fuel consumption we had per lap, I could like throw down a simple strategy of change tires and full fuel every stint, so I don't care. That was my strategy. The thing is, I don't know if you noticed, but in the first part of the race, in the like first half lap, I was driving without my headlights on.
Yeah, I noticed. I absolutely noticed that.
So funny thing, I then turned them on simply to fool you into thinking that I was actually driving in the night, because for the entire race it was completely sunny for me. And in the morning I had absolutely no fog whatsoever.
Oh, okay. I mean, sad to hear because you probably missed some of the best things that happened due to the fog. But I mean, I guess that's on Assetto Corsas more than on your side. So, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
Sad that you
I
didn't
was
get
kind
to
of
witness,
sad
but
because I wanted to do a proper endurance, but yeah. So the start of the race was great. I had a great launch. I think I got the hang of how these cars start, and I jumped the Adriot off the start. I think they had a crash in T1. And the first 5 or 6 laps were very good, of good push. We was doing around 52, 53s, and I was consistent. And then I think I went wide in a corner. Yeah, I went wide on after the snake in the first part of the lap, and Buster and Falcon gained on me. But I still had like a 2-3 seconds lead. Then on the lap after, I had Falcon just dive bomb me from non-existence because he fucking forgot the breaking point.
Oh
And
yeah.
on the lap after, when I
Whoopsie.
lost the lead, the worst part is that I have no idea what I did wrong. I took the corner as always, but on exit my car lost completely the grip, and I just had my car spin out. So I rejoined the track behind Hackbuster and Falcon, and I was still trying to keep up. Then I had a couple more smaller mistakes, and I had a slow dash chicane where Maggio gained like 2-3 seconds on exit on me. And then, while going into turn 1, he tried overtaking from the outside. I actually kept a clean line on the inside, but he tapped the wall on the outside. His car veered left, and he tapped me, and we completely crashed out.
oh yeah, about that. I just
And-
want to tell you, in case you wondered or you didn't know, Maggio is not even mad about that. He just had to go to it, so that's the reason he actually left the race for a little while.
No, I know. I straight up asked him because in the first accident we had, I got pretty pissed. simply because I thought I had given him enough space, and turns out he just crashed. But yeah, I got pissed, but I got over it while driving. The second accident, we simply were in the same situation, but he actually did a good job of taking the inside from me on braking. And on the exit, I just thought I could have a better exit than him. I didn't think he was going to be that much slower than me on exit. We were both on the curb. I just lightly tapped him and we both spun out. And then he left. So that's sad. I think we could call it even. None of that was intentional. We both killed each other on the same corner. So that happens. It's racing. And yeah, probably the thing I'm mad the most is after
Titsa, can you hear us?
yeah. Did I lag out?
Yeah, you had a little bit of lag, so I just wanted to to stop you before
How
I
much? How much did you lose? So, what I was gonna say is after the second pit stop, I did so many mistakes. So all the chances I had to fight with Adrian for the podium were just gone. And yeah, I just took the car to the end to finish before. Kind of mad, but it's good points, and I think the championship ranking is looking quite good.
Yeah, I mean, to be from an outsider point of view, I gotta tell you, I think you did a great job, in my opinion. So, a very nice race from you. It's nice to see that you were able
Without
to
the
fight.
crashes, I could have fought for P1. I was going to I mean, on some laps at the end, I was aiming at like low 150s, maybe a 49, maybe. But I kept making mistakes, so the only one I have to blame is me. I was not on the top of my game, but after 1 hour of driving, my concentration was gone.
It's okay, mate. It's okay. After all, it's an endurance, so it's part of the game, let's say. But that being said,
sorry.
yeah, I'm sorry. But that being said, nice to have you here, both of you, of course. And next race is gonna be, of course, in Okayama, a sprint race this time, so no more 1 hour race for now. The next endurance is gonna be even worse. So that being said, what do you expect from Okayama with this cars? Have you tried the track already? Have you got any ideas on how to tackle the next event, which is gonna be, of course, a sprint?
Well, last time I did Okayama was in the RGT cars.
Yeah, Okayama is a trackable time. Over a year ago, same with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That was a while ago.
Very well. So that being said, what can I say? Thank you for the show from both of you. And that being said, man, I cannot wait to see the next round, which is gonna be, of course, next week. Yep, thank you, and see you soon, lads.
See ya.
See ya.
I'll join you at the end for the goodbyes.
Thank you. Bye bye. So, those two lads were, of course, the race winner and the guy who ended up in P5. So, at least I think it was P5. So, of course, Falling Falcon and Tits. And now, we wait for the next ones, which are gonna be another protagonist of this race and another one protagonist of this race, Hackbuster and Hadrian. And let me tell you guys before everything, you guys put on one hell of a show. So, after you, what do you think about this race?
I mean, well, the preparations paid off, definitely.
Yeah, surely they did.
Yeah, Adrian, go ahead.
I mean, we are the most prepared for this, I believe. The both of us. I really did like simulations of different strategies. I knew I had like a lot of pace. Even with the crash, I had 2 terrible crashes at the beginning. I think I was at 1 minute behind the lead at one point. I think Hackbuster on his first stop came just in front of me. So I didn't think I would be fighting for the lead at the end.
Yeah, I mean...
But yeah, like, doing solid laps, taking care of my tires, I didn't use as a concept. And it had more than half left by the end, while Falcon was dying on the tires.
I mean, the good thing is that, of course, in endurance races, yes, you may get involved in some harsh crashes and lose a lot of time, But the good thing is, of course, that
but
this
I
can
had a
happen to...
solid second stint.
Yeah, exactly. The same can happen to others, and usually racing alone in like no pressure or anything, allowing yourself to get some clean laps, that can help and bring you in situations you would not even believe. And the last few laps were absolutely crazy. Same with you. Same from Markbuster, who also had a very lonely first stint. And also, since I'm here, I'm gonna ask, because I asked the same thing to Falcon. Hackbuster, tell me if I'm wrong. Did you actually do like the first stint without changing tires and then changing them in the second one?
No, it was both with tire changes, because I just felt they would fall off too hard with the distance that I had to make.
Okay, so you actually did a double tire change. Okay, because I was talking about to Falcon before, and he told me that he did the main reason he got into the fight at the end was because he did one stint, the last one, without changing tires. So that was the reason he was there at the end of the race. If you were wondering.
Yes. The pace was definitely a bit slower with him with the older tires, but he put up a very good defensive driving, and I was just it was hard to get past him. And in the end, I inhaled some fog. My brain got foggy, and it resulted in some mistakes.
Well, I mean, that's okay, but in the end it was absolutely incredible, especially in the last part. So, of course, I think we can safely say that both of you proved that getting preparation before a race can pay off hell of a lot, and you two are literally living proof of that. And what can I say?
I could let you know that as of now I have 2,000 kilometers on this track.
Yeah, I think same.
Absolutely fantastic. So, that being said, what can I say really? Well, first of all, thank you for the show, because that was absolutely incredible. The last few laps I was screaming out of my lungs because of that battle. But also, I am glad to see that both of you actually managed to get into these higher positions. I think it's the first podium for both of you in this championship, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
barely my first point.
Yeah.
I mean,
I had on Severin, but
I mean, look at the bright side. It's double points, and you got into this high, in the rankings. So you made up all of that.
I know. I'm really happy about it.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, what can I say? The only thing I can say really at this point is, next race instead is gonna be Nakayama, which I don't know if you're familiar as a track.
I'm not familiar with any track.
Okay, fantastic.
I mean, the ones with F1, yes, like Imola and Nürburgring, but the other ones I don't have.
It's okay. It's okay.
I remember it from iRacing, the massive U-turns and getting on the throttle. That's definitely gonna be interesting. Some dive bombs are to be expected.
Yeah, I expect some nice race. So that being said, of course, there's gonna be, of course, a week before the next race. We had a big break before between round 3 and round 4, sadly, because of other personal reasons. But I'm pretty sure with the next race, which is gonna be a sprint one, I'm sure we're gonna see some more fire between you shoes. So all I can say before that race, of course, is both of you enjoy the moment. This was one incredible race, and I hope you both are happy with the result and will enjoy this for as long as possible. And that being said, well, what can I say? You are free to say literally whatever you say at this point. So to you.
Well, I guess shout out to Lopter. Thank you for your support, Ben. I hope we can race side by side together in next occasions. And we'll see you in the next race.
Very nice. And you, Adrian?
I hope I have the performance on me on the next race, because I feel it was a perfect storm, like a big break and stuff. But I'll try my best.
I'm sure you will, man. I'm sure.
There.
You proved something today, so be proud of that.
I was flying on the end, man. I had P1 almost.
Absolutely.
I still can't believe it.
Sorry for the punt.
Nah, it's alright, it's okay. Like, I almost don't believe that I came back from that. Like,
I retaliated by punting Falcon as well, so you know.
Oh, that's why, okay.
Very well. Very absolutely well. So, thank you, of course, to both of you. And I'll see you probably next week. Thank you.
Thank you, see you.
Have a nice night.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, those were two hell of a protagonists, like literally guys who brought their soul into this race and managed to give us some exciting spectacles in the last few laps. And now, here in the interview room, we got Darts and we got Thomas, two other big protagonists in this race. So, who wanna go first? First question.
Thomas, you wanna go first?
Sure.
So, Thomas, it was quite a roller coaster race from you, I guess.
Yeah, I was mostly driving for fun. Didn't know the track at all. Didn't help that it was nighttime. So I could literally, last 10 minutes, sun was going up. Like the last 20 minutes, sun was going up. And I got jump scared by the mountain. Because I forgot that there's a massive mountain in the way.
Well-
Right outside the track. So that was slightly funny. I did get on pace actually. But then I miscalculated how many laps there were left, and I tried going for a one-stopper, which could have happened, but it actually could never happen, because I thought that one lap was going to be 5 minutes instead of one lap 4 minutes, because I got confused with the amount of liters of fuel that we use, which was 5 liters. So I was trying to save like 5 liters of fuel to possibly do an extra lap and maybe do a one-stopper and gain back all the positions I lost from being bad at the video game. But then I remembered that no, I cannot do that. I would have to save like 3 or 4 liters of fuel, which was going to be impossible.
Well, I mean, we live and we learn, and that's you know what can happen if you don't calculate too much the strategy. But at the end, I think everything considered, I think you completely had a nice result. All things considered, a roller coaster which started in the front, then ended in the mid pack, and then once again in the front. So, all things considered, I
Yeah.
don't think it was a bad race from your side.
No, it wasn't. It was quite fun actually.
So yeah, I mean, all of that matters in my opinion is that driving is fun enough and can bring some exciting moments from the races. And I feel like everything considered, it was still that kind of race. Also, I have a personal question. I mean, it doesn't really has anything to do with the race. It's just something I was wondering for a little while, because I was thinking about this a few days ago, and I think it's the right moment to ask this. You know, I never asked this, but are you actually Italian? Because I know
am.
there's... Ah, you
Yes,
are,
I'm
because
Italian.
I swear from the voice and the accent, it's very hard to tell. So it was like wondering, because like...
Up until very recently ago, like I always thought that my English accent was Ferrari strategist. Like when I hear my recordings back, like old previous interviews or like general other recordings when I'm speaking English, I have a JPEG of the Ferrari pit crew come up in my brain, which I will send in chat right now. Of course, people in the video will not be able to see, but they can imagine the Ferrari pit crew.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they know which one it is. But,
Yes. Like whenever I hear my accent, I think of this JPEG. So, yeah, I'm quite happy. It's not that bad actually.
No, I
Yeah,
swear
picking-
it was very difficult to know from from my point of view. So I felt like this was the right occasion to ask this. So nice to know that the Italian flag on the car was not there for no reason at all.
I
and not everything.
am. I have never left this country. I've
Okay.
never stepped outside of Italy, so I am 100% Italian.
Okay, so with one mystery solved from my point of view, we now switch, of course, our view from the other driver who had a very roller coaster race. Although I feel actually his race was quite quiet, but that's actually what made
Yeah.
it so good.
That was a strange race because it was quiet, but like I made a lot of mistakes. So it was difficult.
Yeah, I mean, surely racing for an hour and a half almost,
Yeah.
it's never easy, especially
It was
in a-
really draining, but like I tried to not change tires at the last stop, and it was a really bad idea.
Was it?
Yeah, like I didn't have any grip. I like lost 3 to 4 seconds a lap. I didn't have any pace. I finished the position I finished because because others made mistakes that pushed me a little bit far. So
Well, but I mean, look at the bright side. The point is, despite everything, you still had your quiet race, but due
yeah,
to the fact that
if
it was
people
quiet,
if people die, I take positions. So I guess it's a win.
yeah, I mean, it's a nice philosophy. So despite everything, you still got a very nice ending position. I think it was P5 or was it P5?
Yeah, P5.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah, it was
despite everything, P5 is still a very nice position, and considering that it's double points, you know, it's nothing to be to be said of. So
It was funny when like someone surpasses me and then literally just crashes. So, oh, okay, cool.
I mean, another free position, surely. So, yeah, another nice one. And this being said, all of this being said, next race is gonna be once again a sprint race in Okayama, the last sprint we're gonna have in this championship. Don't know if you're familiar with Okayama as a track, so all I'm gonna ask is, what are your predictions or I don't know, thoughts for that race?
I literally never seen Okayama layout.
Fantastic. And Thomas, about you?
Actually, I love Okayama. I actually call it Oklahoma because it's funnier that way. It was a track in my very first sim racing championship I ever done like 3 years ago. So yeah, I actually raced there I think 2 or 3 times. So I should know the track. I remember in my very first race, which then became an inside joke in that league, that I forgot to put enough liters for the race. Like, so I completely lost the race, and the meme became, oh, it's fine, it's just full tank of fuel and then refuel the car. But then that wasn't the strategy, and I completely messed up and lost the race.
Well, I mean,
So hopefully that won't happen again.
I mean, bright side, it's a sprint race, so you won't have to do pit stops. So that's the
You
good
never
thing.
know.
Nah, I know you're gonna be fine. So, with that being said, next round in Oklahoma, I think I'm gonna call that as well at this point,
Yes.
because it's a fantastic name. We all look towards that next round, and hopefully it's gonna be quite a sight to behold for all of you. So that being said, once again, thank you for the show you put on the stream on the race, and I'll see you around in the next one.
All right. See you guys next week.
See ya.
See you
Bye
guys.
bye.
Bye bye. And with this, 2 other mad lads leave the interview room, and we wait, of course, for probably 2 more, as we see who gets decided drafted by the almighty Teats. And the 2 lads are the Kiwi Firestar and Jason Short as well. So, first of all, how are you?
Firestar. I skipped out on airsoft police. It was 80 minutes long. I had a horrible race. It was mistake after mistake, and then I fucked up my strategy because I decided, you know what? Yeah, I can survive without pitting. Like I can pit twice, but only change tires once. I could not. The tires were cooked, and I am not built like Falcon.
Did I lost him or
Sorry. Did
okay.
I cut out?
No, he's definitely here.
Did I cut out or something?
Yeah, I
No,
think
you were here for me.
I think actually. Oh, wait, maybe I'm just silly. I thought the phrase was gonna go on, so maybe bad on that. Yeah, I mean, it can happen, but that's also the beauty of 2 stoppers and these kind of races where there's no real clear strategy to follow. So you also have to kind of wonder if you are on the right one or if you are on the bad one. And well, sadly, luck was not on your side. But the bright thing is, I think that despite everything, it went better than expected, or probably better than you may have expected. I hope.
Yeah. I was like actually doing really well, especially from like the middle sector of a race. Like I was ahead of Daz at one point, and then I wasn't. I exited the pits and I lost 10 seconds because I spun in the tunnel and I got stuck.
Oh yeah, that's something that can happen. Actually, I think Thomas, the one we interviewed before, did a mistake quite a lot during the race. Like at least I think I saw him do that like 3 or 4 times. So if it can make you feel a little bit better, I can guarantee you that the tunnel section is one of the easiest part where you can spawn the car. So
Yeah. But the thing is, I did it through T1 tunnel. Because I hit the wall while turning and I just like spun myself the other way.
oh, that way. Oh man. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit harder to spin, but still can happen, especially in in a race this long. So I won't
tires,
blame you. So
yeah.
don't worry about that. So yeah, I mean, it was surely a hard race, but I guess it was not as hard as the one from from E here. So E.
Oh no. Okay. Do you want me to start on? Do you want me to start on anything? Because there is a lot to unpack about my race.
I mean, if you wanna review your entire race with one phrase, I'm not gonna stop you, of course. Just depend on what you're
No,
gonna
there
say.
is a lot to say. Chronograph is not the right word. Let's chronologic. Okay, let's start chronologically here. So Imola ended. I was absolutely horrifically pissed about how I performed both races. I had made dumb mistakes, ran into people in dumb ways. People ran into me in dumb ways. I was stuck in traffic. It was unfortunate circumstance after a complete skill issue after unfortunate circumstance, and I had 3 weeks. I had 3 whole weeks to not only practice this race but also to make a new scheme. I didn't do that. I had gotten about 40 minutes of practice in VR like a week ago, and then I have followed it up with some practice last night, and most of the practice was this morning, going into the afternoon. Actually, more or less just all the afternoon. Like basically when the server was up, I was there. That was my entire practice, and it was not enough to get me out of trouble at the very beginning of the race. You could probably see the very back of the pack. I get absolutely adored by Maggio, who learns the track extremely quickly. I don't know how people understand tires and cars. I
drive.
don't get it yet. I just don't get it yet, or I just will never get it. One of those 2 options. Maggio moves up the field. I don't ever see him again because I make a bunch of dumb little mistakes on my own, and I made one before I'd even hit the grid. I ran on my quali fuel, so I had to pit early, which is okay because I had a strategy going where I was going to go 5 laps and 8 laps and 8 laps. So I messed that up as well. Completely blew that off the window. I had Mr. Gordon Freeman himself as my race engineer, and while he is a great resistance member, he is a horrible strategist. He put tires on, but then gave me the quali load again, or the last stint load. So I had to move forward and then go back into my spot. And I forgot to uncheck the change tires, so I had to do basically 2 stops in 1 stop, which means I was forced into a lot of the other strategies people did out of risk. Which when I did my spot again, I had to not take tires because I had already taken 2 tires at the first stop. So that was awful. I think I'd lost 80 seconds on that 1 stop, and I didn't really see anyone else the entire race, and I just kept making mistake after mistake after mistake. And I think the point in the time in the race where I had the most fun was when the fog rolled through. Laurent McKees was cooking, he was grilling, and I was at least trying to push, and I think that last lap kind of demonstrated it the best. I'm like Icarus, except his wax is just that little bit meltier that day. I'm not even flying that close, and I still, fall down into the ocean.
But
So,
I mean, you can. I think there's a little bit of a bright side you can actually find in all of this. I know it sounds
what,
stupid.
the sun to my west as I die into the death
No.
chicanes? I guess
No,
so.
it's the fact that somehow I swear to God this is true, somehow you managed to finish ahead of Alex Maggio.
Maggio died halfway through!
And also, forever.
Everyone finished in front of him!
I mean, it
Go
it
on,
can
go
happen.
on though, go on though.
How did he die, by the way? What happened?
There
What
was a contact between him and Tits, and then he just had to go to it. So it was like, oh yeah, crash. Let's go and eat something.
Oh, Tis was actually hit by an actual person, and not you didn't die in that moment. Okay.
Yeah, it
Oh.
happens. It happens.
No,
But
speaking of Tiz, we need to execute. We can take him out back and execute him for not having the day-night cycle on.
I mean,
Oh yeah, he didn't have the day-night cycle on. He didn't have the fog on. I mean, mostly because his stuff was bugged, but still, yeah, I think I would kill him.
yeah. I mean,
I
don't
would
worry.
I would professionally murder him. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
but we're
Firing
getting
squad
we're getting
style.
the firing squad ready, so there's no need to worry about that. So
Yeah, but make sure to
Okay,
learn all
okay,
the
good.
guns. You know, everyone wants to participate.
Yeah, definitely like community-led firing squad for sure.
yeah,
You know how
we're gonna
usually
take
only
care.
one of them is loaded so that people don't have to have the guild. In this case, every one of them is loaded so that everyone gets to enjoy it.
Okay. But yeah, what can we say? As we heard, big news for tonight. Tits is gonna be executed by firing squad. E didn't really have the most fun race ever, but at least I mean he found some solace in the fog. Which
Can we just run the fog from here on out?
I mean, if you
It was-
ask
it was
nicely, yeah, sure.
terrifying. It was terrifying.
I mean,
I will say
I
the
think
night
I-
was so fun.
I mean, it was fun in practice, like not
Mhm.
running with lights and then going off track and exploding the car. But it's, yeah.
I mean, I invite you then later to watch the final like 3 or 4 laps of the race when the fog actually came in the race, because those were like some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen in racing. Because
I saw your stream and you could not see the cars on some angles.
yeah, absolutely, it was thick as hell. But trust me, it was worth it. And keeping that in mind, yeah, probably I'm gonna keep in mind the idea of maybe putting fog once again somewhere else. So I'll keep that in mind, lads. So it's gonna be hopefully fun enough.
I can't wait to see what more torture you can shove up my ass.
You could have put that differently, but yeah, sure, okay. And
Yeah.
yeah, that being said, next round is gonna be Nakayama, or as Thomas said before, Oklahoma. So
Oklahoma, yes, yes,
so,
finally,
I have a friend. who-
Oklahoma. The
so,
Sooners are back, baby.
so yeah, with the race in Oklahoma, what do you feel? How do you feel about that? What are your
I'm
plans?
so
Why is
ready for
there-
the Tulsa Grand
why-
Prix.
Why is there so many white flags with red dots in Oklahoma? That's what's killing me now.
Don't worry about
There
it.
should be more. There should be a lot more tornadoes in Oklahoma for sure. But
Yeah, for
Don't
sure.
don't worry about that.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's
a
fine.
little bit of maybe I should bring a scheme from Tokar, from a driver named Joplin Moore, who's named after the tornado that hit Joplin and the tornado that hit Moore, Oklahoma. Just to
Did
hammer
it
it
snowing
in
just
there.
like in real life last week?
Please,
Oklahoma?
can it just snow? Put snow on the track or rain.
It'll be so
Put some
funny.
rain on track. I want to be horrible at racing, but have a big excuse at being horrible at racing. I'd love some rain.
Yeah,
Rain
true.
would be great. It'd mean that people's strategies change on the fly. Everyone has to go get wet. It'd be great. But
It'd be great.
I mean, we would love to keep rain in the races. I mean, it would be, of course, a nice little plot twist. But the main issue we have is that it requires like the version of custom shader pack, which is higher. And as far as I know, it's not free. So we should maybe do some research on that. So I'm not really confident we're gonna have race with the rain in the next few rounds. So sorry about that. But if we manage to find a way to make it work, then maybe in the future we can try something with that. So surely.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's
I'm
not
sure
that
one of
expensive,
your
right?
competitors. I'm sure one of your competitors has the money for it. You know, so I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I think there's some.
I
a
know
premise
about that,
for it.
but you also have to wonder how we tested some things because we have our methods to do that. So, you know,
Yeah, so I mean, we already have problems with the original CSP where Tiz just doesn't have any of the things you selected as a server. That is there's some research to go into it.
yeah,
for
but
sure.
I mean, we're gonna shoot him later, so don't worry about that. So,
I
that-
mean, yeah, we'll shoot Tiz. We'll give Forever a promotion for the server he has today.
yeah,
Why
likely.
did why did everyone's ping like jump on the starting line? Like everyone
Um,
went up to like 600. It was kind of funny.
Oh, I have no clue on that actually. I think it was fine on my end, so yeah.
It calmed down instantly.
It
But like
was-
when
it was the
everyone
auto-
got to
team
the
auto
line,
balance
it like
feature.
got the team auto balance. You've been
Yeah,
auto
it-
balanced.
That was me.
No, I'm on blue.
Yeah, everyone gets to be a bit automatic VPN to New Zealand.
Well, you're a Kiwi now, man.
I got a VPN. I could do that. It'd be awful, but I
Yeah.
could do that. Anyway,
You are now a Kiwi officially.
Okayama was ran in RGT, which was like a kind of like a GT4, but a little bit slower. At least on straights, it was about as fast in corners. This was like a year ago though, so anyone that's ran that, so Tiz and Falcon and I don't think Firestar was there. I was there. But
I haven't
don't
ever
think
driven
Firestar
Oklahoma.
was. I haven't driven Oklahoma. Well, I've driven Oklahoma technically twice, so I'm hoping that kind of kicks in. But I knew back then I was kind of like not at the front, so it'd be a complete learning experience like every other track. I gotta learn the car more than I learn the track because I could get the lines right, but I just don't push the car like I need to.
Well,
The way I want to is just not fast. And if as they say, if you're not having problems with the car, you're not going fast enough. But
well, I mean, if you can help at the beginning when I was starting to get this whole thing running, I did a lot of runs on Laguna Seca, which was like the track we used to use, of course, at the beginning of all of this. So maybe that can help.
I remember Laguna Seca.
Maybe running some laps around Laguna Seca, mainly because that helps to understand how the car works, especially when there's like a lot of decompression, the corkscrew, which gets the car turning in the not right direction usually. So that may help maybe to get some practice in.
I will mention. Well, it makes more sense to just find an Okayama that exists and then just play on that. But there's not really a corkscrew at Okayama. That's my big problem.
That's because you are not throwing your car fast enough. No, but that's jokes aside. Jokes aside. Yeah, no, don't worry. I'll link, of course, the Okayama we're gonna use soon enough. Of course, as soon as the stream finishes. So yeah, in 1 week, hopefully at least some run you'll be able to do, and then of course the race is gonna happen once again on Saturday. That being
I
said,
have a suggestion for chaos.
Saturday. Don't tell me someone said Saturday.
Saturday.
whoops, my bad.
200 kilos of ballast.
That happens. So, that being said, thanks to both of you for having you here. Thanks for your race, for your pain, of course, for this whole event. And I hope to see you around in the next one.
Miata, you are a pain star.
Makes
Gotta,
sense.
you're a super pain style.
I pass. Oh,
Alright, thank you.
never mind.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. And those were our favorite Kiwi and our favorite American in this series. Now we wait, of course, a few seconds to see who else is gonna run up here, if anyone, of course, wants to, or if we're gonna hear a famous curse in Italian from the guy who we're gonna have to, kill. There we go. So, Tits, I don't know if you heard the news. Sadly, you were gonna have to be executed by firing squad. So.
What?
I know it may sound silly, but this is what has been decided by race direction. So.
And I don't know if you heard the news, but you are gonna get Stepal.
Very nice. So that being said, still an aside. I guess the endurance round is over, and I have the crash between you and Maj in the background in the meanwhile. So nice.
Noise.
And yeah, what can we say? What did we learn from all of this, really? Likely
We
nothing.
didn't learn
but
nothing. We're gonna do the same, and we're gonna crash a lot in Okayama. Join the downtown Discord server. We love you.
yeah, very likely that's what's gonna happen. So yeah, that being said, this is it for tonight. I drank literally, I shit you not, a liter of tea in this entire event. I'm gonna piss the entirety of the, I don't know, Rio River later. And drinking so much tea made me British at some point, because I took some sips and then literally said, very nice, right after. So that being said, that being said, Britishness aside, Industrial Revolution and its consequences aside, this round is over. It was nice to have you all around here. It went from an exciting start to a very boring part to a very exciting end. So overall, it was one of the best experiences in my entire life. And I hope
So basically, Le Mans 24 hours.
every single race in Gran Turismo ends up like this. Small parenthesis. I highly suggest, if you like endurance races or races like this, have a look at the Gran Turismo esports series. Those are fantastics. But that being said, it was nice having all of you here, especially Tits, which sadly will be killed for the next round. So sadly for you all, we're not. This is the last time we're gonna hear him. And that being said, yeah, Tits, do you want to say anything to the people who are watching this stream before closing?
One.
That being said,
No, but jokes aside, yeah. Thank you for joining, and I hope you had fun, and see you next week.
very nice. Let's see you next week. Bye